Immediately going to abandon you to the T. Because I'm the worst.
Garbage. Get up.
Who cares what they're saying?
Right now.
You want to see the proverbial looks on their faces?
Oh, well, that's in an hour's time. Half an hour? Oh god, I have no idea how long it's going to take us to beat the final boss, but... Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've been angry on stream before. We've played some bad games, but I think I'm the one who gets angry more often. Although I don't know how often I've been genuinely angry on stream. Like, only a couple of times. I tend to get really quiet when I'm genuinely angry, to be honest.
The game's almost done.
I mean...
Then there's a bunch of bonus content.
The main game is almost done, yeah. But, yeah, the thing is, I think I remember one specific scene from the ending, and I remember it because of how angry it made Vicus all those years ago when it first happened.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to live up to this.
You're not gonna be as angry because you know it's coming. It blindsided you so much. Even though, like, now, like, replaying it, it's been foreshadowed to hell.
It's been foreshadowed, like, really, really awkwardly and ham-handedly.
Yes, exceptionally so, but I think you were like, they can't possibly...
I was kind of checked out at that point.
You were like, they can't possibly be doing that, and then there's this one specific moment in the ending where you just lost your shit. And I don't expect you to do it here because you've seen it before. But I do expect us to talk for a little bit about
well, we'll certainly have some things to say.
And, but before we go to the final boss, we are at the final boss.
Yes.
But before I went out, I actually went and did some more stuff off stream again, for the first time in a while. We missed the side quest bit because I couldn't be bothered grinding out some ingredients. I've went and done that, so we're gonna go do that. We're also gonna go hand in, I hope, the last 2 plushies to the girl, the dying girl in Zavert.
Yeah, remember her.
I made the Asbel and the Prince one. I'm hoping those are the last 2 we need. So.
Right. Fingers crossed.
So we're in Zavert, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna finish off those, then we're gonna go fight the final boss, and then we're probably gonna spend the rest of the stream, rather than starting feature art, we're probably gonna spend some time...
Screaming.
Yes.
Top of our lungs.
Breaking down exactly why the ending is...
so bad.
So bad.
Like, the big thing about Richard that we've kind of learned is that he's not being controlled.
No,
like, he literally could have gotten away from Lambda.
They remember the girl's in the house.
And he decided specifically to, you know, come back to Lambda, or told Lambda to come back to him specifically.
Yes.
Like, that's really the only relevant thing Richard has actually done in the last 40 hours.
Yes. So it's this house, and I grinded out the ingredients for these plushies that I had to make twice because they were also in requests. I suspect the other one we already handed in is also an in request.
No.
But I think it's in Cat's Corner, so I'm gonna have to make that one again at some point. The one to the right of her here.
Yep.
Yes, here we go. We've got Prince, Katamari.
It sure is.
And then we've got Asbel. Why Asbel and not like Rapide? I don't know.
Fascinating question. It's Asbel.
With Blastion.
Bless.
With
I guess we already have a bowl.
We do have a bowl, and it's adorable. This may be the last one? Yep, there's a scene. Alright. So we've now done all the plushes. Oh, we should turn the volume up.
Ah, yes. Not that there's too much to be
missing
anything
to hear right now, but just so we have Put it up at like 14, so we can hear all the final cutscenes really well.
Very important.
Yeah, we cured her anime sickness with plushies.
As you do. I'm very cold. Please take me back inside.
This is, what do you mean this is snow? You live here?
It's not like you've never been outside, unless... Have you?
Yeah, like, it's not even like this is a different town. Like, this is the snowy town she lives in.
Destroyed! Fucking gotcha.
Asbel is definitely not dressed appropriately for this weather. He is barefoot.
You're gonna take that, Sophie. You should murder this child. She seems pretty spry for someone who's never been outside.
Right? Why don't we get that outfit?
That would be a good outfit.
I think it's pretty likely that her model is just superimposed.
Oh god, yes. It is just
blob.
shoved into the ground here behind the snowball.
Yep.
For sure.
Like, if you could move the camera, I bet you would
Although, it is her pigtail, or it is her twin tails.
Oh yeah.
So like, they probably made a model that was just her model shoved down behind a snowball and put that in there.
Well, see, there you go.
Sneesian, thank you so much.
Hey there,
Well, there you go. They can actually make models. So why don't the old cutscenes have models in them instead of just what you're wearing?
Because
right
they
now?
just use their default model instead of having a specific one for it, you know?
Oh, so what are they talking about now?
They're talking about taking her out of her country and down to Windor. Or something.
I haven't been paying attention. Are we taking this small child around?
We're promising that she will, if as long as she doesn't die of anime sickness. It's a bit weird, because we're like across an ocean from that, or at least like a Hudson Bay.
Well, that's... Oh yeah, you're right, because it's Zavert.
Yeah, we're in
It's
Zavert.
actually quite a distance, yeah.
The entire country of Fendel away, basically.
We're going to Verona now?
They also want to take her to Verona.
What? I could have made it 7 years ago before I died. She dying?
Maybe. Maybe
Are
she's
we-
already
Are
dead.
we killing this small child?
Maybe she was always dead and someone's gonna walk out and say, that house has been abandoned for 7 years.
I can't go, because I'm dead.
Oh, Sophie. Oh?
She is dead. Oh, she is dead. Okay.
Pretty sure that's where this
There
is
we
going.
go. She's dead. Yep.
Can't wait for some rando to walk in and explain the twist
There they go.
to us.
There he is. Here he is to explain.
Thank
she
you,
was a
middle-aged
ghost.
man.
Can we break in and get our plushies now? God, you know what? Digimon has several things that are like it was actually a ghost, but it actually does it so much better than this. Like, I love that.
It's so bad.
I love that Digimon has a side quest where they're like looking at all this occult stuff and it turns out to be an old man, and then in the very next quest you find out actually that old man's a ghost too. And you're like,
The good double twist.
It's a great double twist! This is just kind of boring.
Yep. This is so fucking ham-fisted.
You saw me with joking.
To be fair, neither of us remembered this
No,
quest, so
neither
this
of
was
us-
us
yes.
both re-remembering
No,
it
yes,
as
yeah.
the game awkwardly shoehorned it into the very
I
end.
forgot that she was a ghost, yeah.
Yep.
Genuinely forgot because this is very dumb.
Yep. It's so fucking... Whoa! Gotcha, didn't we? But like in the dumbest way possible, because they literally had a man walk in from off screen and explain to us what happened.
No, Sophie, you can't die. The game is, well, hammering this home, huh?
Mm-hmm. Aw, damn it.
Oh, hi, dead mom.
Spoopy dead mom.
You good thing we could see Spoopy Dead Mom's eyes behind her Spoopy Dead Man.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny, it does have a side quest where there's like a dead person as well. And just, this game was do this.
They love that shit.
Actually, ghost is super common.
I don't even mind, like, actually a ghost as a trope, but, like, this, there's been literally no indication of it for, like, this entire thing, and then you get this last cutscene, and suddenly it's like, whoa! And it's really good, and I hate it.
We're trying to hammer home that dying is bad. Will this come up in the ending?
No.
Don't lampshade it. Fuck off.
It was all a dream.
You're dying bad, abuse, A-okay. Yeah, making a Sophie-centric side quest about Asbel's feelings again. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
110 fucking %. Everything's about Asbel's feelings.
Wow. It's interesting how something so small like a stuffed animal can still cheer someone up.
Even if they couldn't actually keep that little girl alive.
Because she was already dead!
Emotions really do control every aspect of our lives.
What are you guys
I
babbling
think I
about?
understand that a little better now.
What? Understand what?
Maybe saving people is more than just healing wounds and curing disease. Maybe you need to boost their
She was a
spirits.
ghost! She was
Yeah.
dead!
I know my health suffered back when you were being so cold.
Wow,
Has
Asbel,
to
making
be
this
up
about
again?
yourself
Maybe
again.
you should go collect a pile
Asbel
of
just
stuffed
had a
animals.
conversation without it coming back to him. I don't think I realized how badly he does that in this
Right.
back half of the game. Like, everything has to be about him. Alright, we are now going to the Humanoid Research Center, which, is that in space?
It sure is. We're gonna have to hoof it there.
Oh, God,
Because
alright.
fuck you, the space dungeons are fake.
So it really is like the whole way down, he's so self-absorbed.
Yep. Everything is really just how it relates to him, and not even in like a, oh god, this terrible shit is happening and it really makes me think kind of way, but literally just in a, how can I make this about myself
It's
way.
true, I wish Asbel had a personality, and how his new trait is makes everything about himself.
Like it's so hard to like describe exactly what's so grating about it.
He is just self-absorbed. Like,
Yup.
like in that, he's like, he had to make it about him. And he's like, well, I know I felt like that. And it's like, Asbel,
Nobody asked.
use fewer I statements, please.
Yep.
Like, the whole way down the final dungeon, he's like, oh, that could have been me. I could have destroyed the world, too.
Yep.
We're heading to Basement 4 south via Basement 3, so I think we go over to the lift. Hopefully we get
You
transferred
could
to
take,
Basement
yeah,
3.
go to basement 3, and then that'll let us take it down
Now
to...
this
oh
guy
my
is being
God.
a fucking troll, huh?
I guess that one didn't
I
count.
guess that's a warp for everyone. That's a warp for everyone to lift, right?
Silly me.
Yeah, he said if I didn't have friends, I would be like Lambda. I would
It was
destroy
doomed
the
to
world.
happen.
Or else
Ah, yes, that's good.
Plenty of room for improvement, but we can let it slide.
Oh, by the way, Hubert and Malik have mastered all their titles.
Hell yeah.
I'm actually gonna switch what title they have. Like when we get to the final boss, I'm gonna switch what title they have on. Okay, currently now that it's mastered everything, it have a title on that does a cool effect.
Yup.
Is now playing.
Yep. Alright, so we'll just keep going with this.
Yep. Yeah, I'll only change it when... Yeah, these are the
Room.
rooms, yeah.
God, I hate how fucking samey these are.
I know! Oh, this game is Tales of Grace, isn't it? It's bad. Alright, in the lift. Basement 3.
Yep, there we go. Now we just go all the way across.
I can't remember, can you actually get to Basement 4 from this lift?
I don't think so. I'll check. But
Yeah, I feel like there's some weird... Yeah, there we go, Basement 4. there is a skit at the save point.
Fuck you.
And as I said, this game came out in 2012. Zestiria I really like. Zestiria is probably my favorite Tales game. So this game, for some reason, once again, decided there's a bunch of skits everywhere.
It's really important that in this ruined humanoid research center, we get just between us gals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so hungry. Me too. I mean...
Shouldn't we get something to eat soon? We're all hungry.
This again
I'm
feels like
hungry,
a
but
skit that
I'll
you would
make you
get if you did
something if you
cooking
want.
matches for,
Right.
like, 100 matches or something.
I
100
don't
battles.
Right.
think so.
Are you sure?
The
'Cause she hasn't
location-based
really been
skits.
eating much.
She said it's been a tight fit lately.
It's an interesting
Oh, God
shit.
damn it.
Oh,
Don't worry
no.
about it.
What?
Her waistline? Dude, don't you
Oh,
get it?
oh,
She's
no.
totally chubbing
Oh,
out.
no. Oh, God, I'm
We're not
sorry.
Chubbing out? Chubby, chubby.
No!
Chubby, chubby.
Oh, jeez.
This is why we don't let you around her.
Oh, God. Alright. Yeah, no. Now we're actually going back to Basement 2.
Ah. Right, because the side quest ends in a completely random place here.
Yeah, don't you just love returning to a mid-game dungeon for a terrible joke and a skit? This game's terrible. Oh, boy. Oh,
That
wow.
was a lot of
Wow.
work just to get a fat joke, I gotta
Wow.
say.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
impressive.
Wow. That was bad. Oh boy. Yeah, add fat phobia to the list of racist crime. Oh, play Berseria, play Zestiria. Both excellent games, in my opinion.
Alright, so where?
It says head west, north, and east for room in the star event.
Okay. Great, just a random fucking star event.
Yeah.
This deep in this fucking dungeon, oh my god. How are you supposed to think to do this?
Yeah, it's true. If you'd written such a shitty fat joke, you would try and hide it too. You know, play a different Tales game. Basically, I wouldn't say every Tales game is better than this one,
They're very up and down.
but most of them are.
Why? Like, just look. Ah!
Go, start
This
of
is
it.
in the middle of nowhere.
This is the last side quest before the final boss.
We need to savor it.
We need to savor this. All right. So in order to do this, we got paid to play this game, unfortunately. This was a sub-goal. Because we normally play good games. Almost exclusively.
That we like.
That we really like. But our sub-goals are games that we don't like.
Mm-hmm. Or at least sequels to games that we did like that are not good.
It was sequels to games that we really like, that are bad sequels to games we really like. Is the theme of our sub-goals.
This one is...
So
we really like the
this
Tales
one's close.
series as a whole, so
It's
it
close.
counts more or less.
Yes.
Anyway, I guess we're trying to bring this humanoid back to life or something.
Yeah, so it is a robot back there, and in order
I'd
to
say
do
a lot of
this-
stuff.
In order to do this, we needed 2 soaring crystals, 2 overgrown crystals, 2 formless crystals, 2 hyperdense crystals, 2 artificial crystals, and 2 moist crystals.
Moist.
Moist. Which required a lot of me like running around with a mixer. But we should have all of them. Yep.
We sure do. It'd
I
be
had
very
to-
funny if one of those was like one of
I
2.
had to make all of these.
Not even the Ancient Amarcians were able to do this,
look.
but Pascal, totally fine.
The Rose, I have a very complicated relationship with Star Ocean 4. I both hate and don't hate Star Ocean 4. But it fits the criteria of bad sequels to games I love, because I love Star Ocean 3. And it's a bad game. Star Ocean 4 is a bad game. It fit. And I think it was a very interesting set of streams, because I actually have way too much knowledge about SO4, which yes, it is a little bit of an abusive relationship. I just can't quit Star Ocean 4. Well, I can now, I finished it, I platinumed it.
It's true.
Are they done yet?
Nope.
Alright. There's some bad games that you know are bad and you're like, oh my god, what the fuck?
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
Why did she make a Funko Pop of Sophie?
I can't help but think something's off. Sweet Jesus, that actually is a Sophie Funko Pop.
It's a Sophie Funko Pop!
I can't believe it. You've nailed it in one.
Oh, boy.
So anyway, I think Pascal also made this humanoid self-aware. Which is
Mecha Sophie.
a bit weird. Oh goodness.
Yeah, Pascal is responsible for Funko Pops.
If that's what we're gonna take from this.
I haven't remembered something which I did actually forget.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we look at the Brainiac title. I have like an art on it.
Well, she does say, just say the word and I'll be right by your side.
Yes, I just now remembered that. I believe she can use Mecha, not just Sophie, but something else in battle. Yeah. Oh.
The name of that
Alright,
terrifies
while
me.
we're here, Hubert. Malik doesn't have this kind of title, but Hubert we should put on... Currently I have like crit up, but if you press square... Yeah, I like critical rate up for him, but I think if we go down one... That one, we want that one.
Ah, yes. When you get your ass kicked a bit less.
For the final boss, that'll be stupid helpful.
Yes. Yeah, there are a few of those titles, and
Yes.
we have some.
But yes, Hubert and Malik have now mastered all the,
Every
the
single
titles
title.
they have, yeah. Alright, that's it. We're now just going to the final boss.
Yep, and by just going, I mean I have to walk out
We
of
do
this
have
fucking
to walk
dungeon.
all the way out, yes.
With this weird blue light on the left side
This
that keeps
music
going up.
is definitely a cheap knockoff of a Metroid theme, for sure.
Not even one of the fun atmospheric
No.
Metroid themes. Yeah,
It's
why does
fine.
that fucking blue light keep happening? I hate it. That.
Yeah. No. What if it's a game or RPG?
It's the game.
It's the game?
It's only in this dungeon.
Yeah.
It's happened so many times and it bothers me so much. I commented on it the first time we were here
I
too.
honestly feel like most Tales music is pretty generic. I mean, Sakuraba is just Sakuraba.
Yep. Most Tales music is just Sakuraba Sakurabbing.
And it's fine, but it doesn't have kind of his high points.
It's a loaded question what the actual plot of this game is.
There is no plot.
Alright.
Guardia Shaft, that's the final dungeon. Here we go. All you need to know is that Sophie's a robot, and we're gonna fight the final boss, and in order to kill the final boss, Sophie wants to use mutual destruction where she will blow herself up to kill the final boss. Everyone here is like, no Sophie, don't kill yourself, we'll be real sad if you die. Asbel especially very mad that Sophie wants to sacrifice herself to destroy Lambda. That's all you need to keep in mind going into this final boss.
Alright, Ellis seems
I'll
fine, but
double
you can,
check the mixer, but I'm pretty sure I already set up for the fight. Yeah, I've put on the seafood curry, which revives and gives us a CC boost. I actually just made that for the cat's corner today. I handed that in. So that's
Right.
new.
There you
Seafood
go.
Curry.
Delicious.
And then yeah, when we reach a minute, we'll get 88% HP recovery and continuous HP recovery. We've got 2 dishes cooked. I've got double Elith bonus, which I believe the Elith bonus is our gauge for our Mystic Hearts
Yes,
when we hit
it
all the
is.
weak points. So I figured, why the fuck not?
Seems good.
Preemption, 1 extra CC at the start, always good. Metabolism, double duration of cooked dishes. And then double recovery effect. So, yeah, this is our setup for the final boss. We're gonna make a save here. We're gonna save on the second file when we do our clear data. Alright.
There's a lot of intricate pieces to this, and they're all terrible. Let's go walk into Holy.
Yep.
Don't hold back.
it. There is no turning back. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Zoom in on her watermelon.
Powerful.
Extremely powerful.
So this is the mana egg at the world's core. They call it the Lestalia. This really is Hubert's best outfit.
It is,
It's
right?
so out there, but like the military outfit kind of sucks.
Oh, the military outfit's terrible. Alright, so first of all, we've actually got to fight Richard. It's the exact same Richard fight we fought in World's Eye
Yup.
7 streams ago at this point. How many, I think it was like 6 or 7 streams ago.
Don't do
So the
this,
first
Richard.
phase is a fight we've
Don't you
already done.
understand
And
what
the
Lamb
guy
is
basically
trying
has
to
nothing
do?
to say about it.
Yes, of course. Lambda's will is also my will. Lambda's hopes are my hopes. Soon, we will become the very world itself. And then our ideals will become reality.
What?
This miserable little world has been most unkind to us indeed. But now
God,
we
and the
can
other thing
remake
about
it.
everything that's about to happen is like, it does kind of make sense that Richard and Lambda are
Is
friends.
your ideal
Yeah?
world?
They have both
And
been
what price will you
persecuted
pay to
Yeah.
in ways that they as children could not possibly understand.
People with power over them tried to kill them.
Yup.
Like, Richard's uncle tried to kill him, and Lambda's creator tried to kill him.
Yup.
And that source is
And you know what? He's right. Humanity were shitty to him.
Yup.
Like, Emerald was just awful.
sad, unthinking creatures who fight and kill to appease their endless desires.
They sure do. He's right.
The existence of humanity is the worst crime of all. Wouldn't you agree?
Eliminate pain by destroying humanity? But what happens after that?
I mean...
I remake the world because I'm a
What are you
literal
planning on
god.
doing once you're all alone?
I mean, anything he wants. When he's alone, there's no one to
You're
judge him.
wrong,
It's
Richard.
true.
This is not the way to eliminate pain.
What is then,
You
Asbel?
helped me recover when I was banished from my home. And I was so happy to have a friend like you.
It is true. Tales games do love being like humans ruin everything,
Don't
but
do
also
this, you have
humans are good.
kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough to
And
bring
can fix
peace to this
things.
world.
That's enough!
Kindness wasn't enough to stop his uncle from poisoning him.
His energy is incredible. Is this the force of the Eleth?
Sure, if you
Do you
insist.
understand how powerful we have become?
This fight, the fight is with Richard is no different than the last time we fought him. I suspect he has a little bit more HP and that's it.
Probably.
Dear Asbel, unfortunately, it is impossible for you to stop us now. Because the inevitable truth is you are about to die by our hand.
I'm
We
trembling.
never have. Alright, Human Nova slash Freeze B Arts. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure I have like a really good Frost. Frostbaker is slash and freeze, and I have Human Burn there. Here. And then A Arts. Don't have that last one. Yeah, humans here, but doesn't really help me. Humans there as well. Yeah, I think I'll stick mostly with my bees. Wanna have a look at yours?
Yep.
Alright, you have Nova and Slash there.
I have Nova on
Nova and
everything.
Freeze here, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, Dagger Splash is a pretty good one as well.
You don't use Gauntlet. Oh, that's a weird one though. I guess, yeah, looking for Human. You have Human here. And
Alright.
Novas, that's pretty good.
Yeah, left is a
Human
decent
Nova and
one.
Slash, you just ready to freeze.
Oh, I got my left.
Yeah, left A into Dagger Splash.
Yep.
Really good here. Yep.
Don't ignore. Give a name to the brilliance that offers its nurturing hand. Listening, your weight is lifted.
That was shockingly fast, Chariot. Yes, it's a massive, massive punch, and oftentimes he will just take another one immediately.
Run away.
Goodbye, everyone.
We're good.
I'm not sure where I am. There we go.
Yeah, you were at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. Sure is all the way at the top. Ooh, there we go. Hi, camera.
Yep.
Oh, an elixir.
That's fun. We also just did, like, I don't know, 20% of it in a few shots there. Yeah, God, sometimes he does just fucking go off. I love letting destruction rain. And Captain Megabot, thank you so much for the resub.
Thank you.
I don't believe he slid out of my attack.
Oh, we really want to go through this again.
Ah,
Oh, you're through.
goodbye, everyone.
No, Schubert. Oh.
Oh, goodbye,
Oh,
Sharia.
bye, Sharia. Hopefully we'll have that out. We might just end up going into it now.
Yes, we are filling it quite aggressively.
Yeah, there we go, yeah. Oh.
I
Alright.
think we only gave up half of it there.
Okay, good.
Alluring Temptress.
Despite the fact that we've done a bunch of side quests, we didn't actually get that many levels through them, I'm gonna be honest. He is actually just phase 1 as well, by the way.
Yes.
He's not supposed to be the hard part of the fight. That's coming. So the first phase is always supposed to be about this level. When we see the second phase, that's when we're gonna die. Don't worry, we're gonna die in the second phase a lot.
Richard,
We're
and
not
Amanda have
over-leveled
been
for
fused
this
too
final
long
fight.
now. It may be they can no longer be separated.
I don't believe it.
Sure. I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Asbel, I knew somehow you would stop me.
You're too much of a dick not to.
I didn't want to trust anyone. I didn't want to be betrayed again. It's better that everyone die rather than suffer any longer. I thought I wanted to kill everyone, but then I just wanted someone to.
Jesus Christ, game, you don't have to spell. Don't have to spell this out so much,
Pathetic,
game.
isn't it?
The game, like, really tries to do this. The world is such a crap sack,
wanted you to save
and that's,
me.
like, kind of Richard's motivation, but you never really see those at the same time, because Richard always flies in for 10 minutes and goes, rah!
It bothers
And
me
that's
because
it.
you know a game that has a world that's a crap sack? Fucking Berseria.
Yep.
The world in Berseria is oh my
Yeah,
god,
it's
the world
the
in Berseria
difference
sucks.
between how these two land from this is so ridiculous.
Like, the world in Berseria sucks so hard that you think the final villain has somewhat of a point.
Yes.
Asbel,
This world is fine. Mysterious world? Fucked up.
Well, it's like this world is like, there's not enough resources to go around, but it's like, the game has only ever showed us that in the most ham-fisted way possible of orphans going, please, sir,
Well, like,
can I have some more Crius?
But killing all the people has nothing to do with the energy crisis as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, well, there isn't enough, there's an energy crisis, therefore all humans must die because they're suffering.
I can
It's,
no longer
it's just legitimately like,
tell them about
We're still talking, I guess.
myself. I fear I'm going to.
We beat you up,
Kill you.
Richard. How are you
Richard,
gonna
we will beat
kill
the
us?
shit out of you every time.
Right?
Please, before Lambda.
Oh, I guess Richard is finally like this turning now.
Richard wants to sacrifice himself, but Asbel is once again gonna be like, no.
Nuh-uh.
Not happen.
No, hello.
Was that Lambda?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hurry, Asbel. I'll try to hold him off. But I told you, you must kill me.
No, Asbel would see. No, Saray would kill him. Because Saray spent the whole game in his history learning that sometimes to save someone, like, you have to kill them. Asbel will never fucking learn any lessons ever.
No! Lambda. It all ends.
Hey Richard, didn't you like give Lambda a second chance like 2 hours ago?
Yes, he did raise his hand and be like, come back to me, Lambda.
Like, I'm not really sure why you've suddenly had this revelation now that we beat your ass a second time, exactly the same way.
Fourth time.
Are you prepared to end along with me?
I literally just told my buddy to kill me, so
Yes.
yes.
Forfeit your right to exist.
Yup.
Impossible.
I get that
Why would you
reference,
ever
Serena.
sacrifice yourself.
That's a miraculous
For
ladybug
those who have
reference right
made
there. Yes, in fact, he has been a Kurit.
You desire death so much, then go to him yourself.
Thing is, in terms of story, it was only like 2 hours. Like, we did like 5 streams of side quests, but in terms of story, it was literally the last dungeon. It was literally the last dungeon. We did that dungeon, then we came to this dungeon. It was like no time at all. Wow, Asbel, what the fuck are you doing, buddy? He's trying to rescue his boyfriend again.
Trying to grab his bro. Sometimes you just gotta grab a bro.
Oh look! Wardrobe change.
Oop.
Grab
When
his
you
bro.
walk away, you won't hear me.
Zestiria is the one that has an alternate bad ending if you kill the final boss early.
So
That's
hey,
great.
that point they just brought up about how Richard and Lambda are inseparable now,
Yeah,
dropped,
bullshit.
gone,
Bullshit.
totally done,
Shit, it's bullshit.
totally fine.
Yep, we've separated them, it's fine.
They were just talking
Please
out their
rejected
asses.
Richard's body and fused with the Ellis from the balconist.
If you insist. Oh, he was still wearing his clothes under that skin suit.
Yeah, they had this whole like 10-minute scene about how you can't like separate them, so you're gonna have to kill them. And then it's just like,
Nah,
no.
JK.
Just kidding.
If you destroy me, what will you fight next?
I mean, nothing.
Without
Each
a
other.
clear opponent, will you invent one for yourself?
Probably.
That's kind of a weird hypothetical, because you are still
Humans
here and
constantly
trying to kill all of
slaughtering
us.
each other in the name of their own existence.
We sure are, buddy.
You kill innocent people in your petty wars, then claim they were evil to begin with. You're nothing but children.
Weren't you the one driving that
driven
war?
by your own
Yeah, a
sense of
little bit.
entitlement. And now you will pay for these crimes with your life.
Yeah, Lambda's been Joker-fied, and he's telling us how you live in a society now.
We sure do. Go into our item. Wanna use, just like to make sure, I wanna use an Elif bottle, like the 300 one. I just wanna pop that off. I think we have
There's
enough
no point
Elif,
hoarding
but
it.
No.
As they say.
It's true.
It's quite extreme.
Yes. Alright, other than that, I'm pretty sure we're good to go. I'm set up for this fight.
Let's do it.
Are we on normal? Just double checking. Yeah.
We sure be.
You get trophies for beating the final boss on moderate, hard, what are the other difficulties? Evil and Chaos. And I believe they stack, so if you beat them on Chaos, you get all of them. And you don't actually need to play the whole game, you just need to fight the final boss in that difficulty.
Right.
So all you do is on your second playthrough, when you're super powered, is you just fight him.
Alright, shallst we?
Let's do it.
Exit the
Miss
menu.
Sophie is a murder bot designed solely to kill this man.
But we gave her feelings, so it's fine.
It's true. Alright, here he is. Actual final boss.
That's
Here we go.
Lambda, I guess.
That's Lambda. That's Lambda and Jealous. Who I believe gets stronger after you do the Zone Cage?
Yes, I believe so.
Fiend, Nova, Strike, Slash, Shot, Impact, lead to ARs. Okay, interesting. That's definitely an eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna be able to keep track of all
I've
those.
got a lot of Slash and Nova and Strike. There's an awful lot. I don't really have much Fiend though.
This
Okay.
entire game is basically, why was I programmed to feel pain?
Yeah, not much. Probably Burial Blade. Huge empty drive.
The drive.
Slash. Yeah, that's a very good one.
Alright, my
Up and
forward.
down, yeah.
Sounds good.
Otherwise.
Ow.
So is anyone worried about us being over leveled? Don't worry about it. We're gonna die. A lot. Oh, I got turned still.
As with all Tails bosses, he just does a billion status effects.
Yeah.
Calls it a day.
Yeah, you sure do. Oh, there's the end of the field. Finally can I move to the right? The red line is blending into the multicolored floor.
Yes.
Oh, back off, back off. His mystic card is AoE and it might kill in 2 or 3
Yeah, he didn't.
So we want to like be as far apart from each other and Sharia as possible.
Especially Sharia. Especially me and Sharia. Ah, he's no thing. He's gonna get us Elford pretty quickly. He got better.
I don't think we've seen this one yet. Sponging sword.
Let's expunge a sword. He's gonna get his again fairly soon. Ballsy.
I was holding it before he went off. That actually stunned him a
That
wee bit.
stunned him quite a lot, yes. Like, he's still stunned.
Ha! Fucks him up!
Beautiful.
Perfect.
He did just give you a big hug, though.
He did. He didn't do much damage with it. You might have had a moment after you unpetrified for the air. I wasn't sure.
That's fair enough. I'm not sure what to do with him either.
Probably, yeah.
Come forth! My heart roars!
Oh god, there he goes.
Straight on Sharia, too.
Yep.
I will. Oh, it's
on
me!
you. Oh!
Oh.
You didn't die though, alright.
I am getting hugged to death, though.
I'm trying to get there. Trying to free you. The HP auto regain from the meal has been excellent, and I'm glad I put that on.
Yup.
Very good choice. I don't see him.
I know, he's barely on screen.
You stand at the death of Cal.
Oh, someone died.
You did.
Probably me. Yeah.
Thank you, Season.
Thank you. I was actually looking over when I died. But also, enemies just get like powerful when you do it.
Release! No escape! Critical blade!
Sherry, you're so brave.
Oh, he was stunned!
The entire thing.
The entire time!
Oh,
no,
beautiful.
He's like, he's not gonna. Oh yeah! Alright, well that actually went really well.
Totally fine.
That was actually fun.
I cannot be defeated.
He cannot be defeated, allegedly.
To be fair, we prepared like crazy for that one.
Yes.
The cooking definitely was great. The double healing effect and that HP auto healing.
Yeah, that was doing so much. Yeah. Oh, you're fine, people. Emerald was worse.
Emerald was worse. Emerald was the hardest boss in this game,
All the Ellis.
hands down.
The last Talia will soon return to its former state.
So we didn't come down here with a
The
plan.
Valkanus will also regain their Ellis.
So the world.
We came here and decided to just beat the shit out of it until he gave up all the Eleth like a pinata, and then he did.
Away. So if he doesn't have energy to leech, will he just like disappear?
Oh, there's you've got most of the proper nouns.
Elith is just like mana. Or
Yeah, Elith
energy.
is mana.
It's oil.
He won't. If we do nothing more, he will fall into sleep, and someday he will regain his power.
I gotta blow him up.
Well, why don't we
I gotta blow him up.
Why don't we just leave him
come
then
so
for the
far.
future to deal with?
There's gotta be something we can do.
Why don't we just leave him?
Oh hell yes, the music is starting.
I remember the exact scene, and if it happens the exact way I remember, you're gonna flip.
Don't sacrifice yourself for this.
Sophie Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you, my friends.
Honestly, this is a fine way to end. This is kind of how Berseria ends.
Made me
More or
happier
less.
than you know. But now, I want to protect your home. I want to protect your future. And you.
No, don't! You promised you wouldn't do this!
Even if I disappear, a little part of me will still remain inside all of you. But that is no different than you dying. It will be like the time I distributed my particles to save your lives. Except this time, I won't ever see you again.
But in fact, it won't be like that at all.
But in a way, we will still be together.
This is truly beautiful.
This would be a fine way to end the game.
If it ended like this, it'd be a little like,
It'd be
okay,
sad,
come on, game. But like, you know, it wouldn't be like. Again, that's kind of what she's here for.
Yep.
And she's clearly made the choice to do this.
Yep. Saying her farewells.
Giving a nice speech about humanity.
No!
This isn't about me! It has to be about me!
What about me?
I told you, I won't let you die.
Oh, jeez, I touched the poop.
Yep.
Ah! Here we go.
So Zoe's about to sacrifice herself, and Asbel's like, no, I gotta punch it.
No!
It's not about him.
Asbel, please!
too late. I already touched the poop.
I won't let him absorb me.
Ah.
I'm going to find out if all he wants is to live.
Yeah, everything
There's no plan.
Everything has to be about Asbel.
There's absolutely no plan. Same. That's my face right there. And then he dies. Good game.
Sophie, you can't sacrifice yourself.
I have to sacrifice myself. So this is about where I started yelling.
He lost his shit when Asbel punched Lambda.
Because it's like, this doesn't actually solve anything. Like, sure, now it's not Sophie that's dying, but presumably it's Asbel that's dying. Like, this isn't a solution to the problem. This is a shifting of it so that Asbel doesn't have to feel sad. It's fundamentally so fucking selfish.
That belongs to neither you nor I.
It's so selfish.
So anyway,
selfish.
We do have to get through a fucking monologue, or I guess duologue with Lambda and Asbel, where they're on neutral ground and they can't punch each other. But Lambda's like, yo, thanks for the body. I'm just gonna
Right?
take this.
Right? This is mine now.
And eventually, your body will come under
Yeah,
my
He's
it was
quite
kinda-
literally like, rip to Sophie, but I'm different.
in exchange for becoming.
And we're not quite to the part that I was like literally screaming about the first time around. But we're getting there.
The birth of this new world. This
But I was just like, I'm gonna
process
do
will
what to
allow
you
the
what I did to
world to
Richard.
become whole again. This process.
Bro,
will
maybe
make
if you came here with a plan to stop me, you wouldn't. But like, this is just plan A, dude.
But to be honest, if he was just gonna fall into a sleep and he would like eventually come back, you could just beat him up again.
Pain.
You could just leave instructions and beat him up again to the
I
future,
have
you know?
been pursued for my entire life, and this process will grant me peace.
Alright.
I will finally be able.
So of course, the Lambda Redemption Tour doesn't end here.
Oh yeah, it's not over. It's just beginning.
Now we
actually.
really need to understand just how sad and tragic Lambda is as a villain. And it totally is Shido, yes.
That voice.
From Persona 5.
Yeah.
Richard, you must stay still.
Is he? Has
Oh
he
hey
been
boyfriend.
taken over?
How you doing?
Laura Bailey is Sharia, the girl with the pink
We've been
hair.
hearing two voices for a while now. One of them is definitely Asbel, but the other one is probably...
Wait, so we're hearing it? We're hearing their inner monologue?
I guess.
I think that Sophie
I didn't
allows
realize
us to
his
hear
boots
him
had 5
somehow.
belts on them. Holy shit. Why does it...
How
why-
else are they gonna stay on up
Why
to
do
his
his
knees?
boots have so many
Wait a
belts? What's
The
wrong with the
Lambda
zipper, my
responded
dude?
Most strongly to my feelings of
Oh,
anger.
oh, here we go. Here we fucking go.
But Asbel's the
Meant we
goodest
understood each
boy,
other.
see?
That we could help each other.
Ugh, gross.
But in the end, our mutual feelings caused far more harm than good. However, in
I wish the
Asbel's
game was
case,
smart enough to have Richard be our new protagonist in the boss fight against Asbel, but no. No, no,
In
no.
Asbel's case,
God, he's not a Sora.
No.
Like, Sora, I could see this working. In fact, I believe it has worked for Sora.
I'm pretty sure that has been a Kingdom Hearts plot point
All
more
that
than
Sora
once.
ever does is
Did you
befriend
enjoy
everybody.
watching my
That's just his
painful
MO, but
past?
Asbel is just way
Was
too
it
selfish.
satisfying
Yep.
to see your enemy suffer?
No, instead I made it all about me.
Insane.
I thought, what if I was like that?
I'm not like that.
What if
I'm
I-
different.
What if I was a being of pure energy? Would I destroy the world with no friends?
That's no reason for you to do this. That's
God, and it is like, it's not like I would hate all of these various plot points all together, that like Richard was a bad match, but
God,
Asbel
I
was a
wish
better
like
one.
Lambda was the.
But-
This is exactly right. You overcame your patience, I should overcome mine. It's like exactly right.
Yup.
Like Asbel is making this all about himself because he did it,
Yup.
Arrogant.
and Lambda is just like, yeah, you fucking.
But it
asshole.
all just, it just does not land even slightly.
Except then it goes swerving off. You know.
Yeah.
Sway me, human. I know your thoughts better than even you do.
It's true I don't know my own thoughts very well.
Yeah, so
but
this
to be
one game
honest,
was
you're
like-
I don't know, I've never had a thought in my life.
And empathy.
I didn't say anything about you overcoming your pain alone, did I?
Oh,
Some things
fart.
require the help of others.
Fuck off.
So if we join forces and work together, we can accomplish anything. I truly believe that.
He worked with Richard just fine,
Right.
Asbel.
Together.
He worked with Richard just fine. They were friends. Richard
Right?
even said
It's
so.
just set up so fucking badly.
You're right, you know. It's true. Human beings can be pathetic. And me? Well,
I
I'm
fucking
about as
suck.
human as they come.
We know, Asbel. We know.
But
You suck.
we're more than that. We can be so much more than that. And you know it's true. Misunderstanding.
Remember that time you got Ted on the head?
And that in turn led to even greater tragedies.
What do you mean misunderstandings? What do you mean
What was the
misunderstandings?
misunderstanding about all of this? About the evil science that the
There
Fodrons
was
did on
no
you?
misunderstanding. Emerald was just
Behind all the
extremely
tragedy
evil.
Yes.
Lies your sadness.
Emerald was just extremely evil.
It was just a misunderstanding.
That you took
What?
Because of that
That was
sadness,
Hohenheim, yes.
That was indeed
made you
Hohenheim.
even more alone. Cornell wanted more for you. He didn't bring you up just to make you suffer.
No, but he died and was arrested, and everyone else tried to kill him.
Told me to live.
And then he
Even though
died.
I'm not
Because he
human,
was shot by another
And
human.
even though I can't maintain a human form.
I'm
The
just
misunderstanding
one
was
person.
I don't see you as a
I
person.
can't tell you what it means to
Classic.
live. However, I do know this.
This
Cornell
game will
wanted more
not
than
say that
anything
Emerald was evil.
to
No.
show you as much
It
of the world
refuses
as
to
he
say
could.
Emerald was evil, despite the fact she was really
He
evil.
wanted you
When
to
it showed, even when it showed us
He
things of her
wanted you to
being
live.
extremely explicitly evil.
I know you've learned nothing but
Yeah,
pain
Cornell
and
wanted
sadness
that,
so
and then
far,
he was
and I'm
killed by
sorry.
other people. God
But-
damn.
There's so much
Yeah,
more
it's
the
like,
world has to offer.
again, I wouldn't hate this if this was presented
That's the
in a
world
way
Cornell
that
wanted
wasn't
you to
like
see. I
a
know that's what
child's
he wanted for
argument.
you.
You know? Like, this is really what's gonna stop the world-destroying, Kriya-sucking monster from destroying the world. It's you saying, but your dad didn't hate you, isn't that right?
We can
Just
be as one.
focus on that,
No.
why don't you?
I know, it's like my dad. He abused me, but he loved me, actually.
Right.
Consume you in time.
Yeah, remember the time when Emerald knew she was manipulating the party to steal land and then died immediately?
Oh, it extremely drags on because we basically have to have the entire explainer. Oh, here we go.
I'll take that chance.
I don't give a shit.
We'll see if
So-
I get taken over or not.
I just want to say,
Too.
Asbel
things to
basically shoved Sophie out of the way to do this.
Yes.
Like, Sophie was basically built to destroy this thing, and while, you know, maybe it wouldn't have worked out, you could at least say that it was kind of the best chance they had of doing
We can't
this.
destroy you
Asbel jumps in,
without destroying Sophie as well.
like, throws himself in the path, basically completely
besides,
selfish because he doesn't want to
have
feel
something
sad
to
about
prove.
her
I want you
sacrificing
to know
herself.
that humans
With
have
no
potential.
plan, no hope of victory,
I'll help
just
you to
fuck it,
understand
I'll figure it
how
out.
terrible it
And
would be.
the biggest problem that I have with this ending is that he's gonna get away with it.
Yes, he's
You
right.
still have so
Like,
much left to learn.
the end,
He's right.
you can tell the game is setting this whole thing up, that it's this whole, like, friendship is the way. Sophie was just gonna try to destroy him, and that would never work. But, like, that's not
guess I'll take
actually,
your hand.
like, nothing has really built up to this. So basically, Asbel's incredible hubris is the only thing that actually resolves the plot of this game. And I fucking hate it so much!
His hubris and his selfishness.
Yes, his selfishness, his hubris. Like, there's no reason that any of this
My guard would just have to
should,
stay up.
like, work in any way. This doesn't feel like it pays off. It's literally just Asbel's self-centered ego saves the world because he's the goodest boy. So every awful thing he's been saying, like, I could have destroyed the world if I didn't have friends, it turns out he was right. He was just right about all of it because he's the main character of the game. And it's so fucking bad.
Too long.
I think I've talked for too long because this cutscene is still
Still
going.
going.
You know what? I'm not going to take over your brain. I'm just going to go to sleep. fuck it. He literally talks the final villain's ear off, and he decides, you know what? I'm just gonna sleep in your head.
Lambda.
Fine.
Is this like Fallout 3, where you just have enough charisma to tell the boss to kill himself? Oh look, now he's a baby.
No, his light is fading.
Oh no, his light.
no.
He's just going to bed.
The
Fuck
evil-
off,
the
Asbel.
world's eating
Don't go,
monsters.
Lambda.
Amazing things left for you to do.
God,
Do you hear
Asbel,
me?
shut the fuck up!
You can't just
Why do you have
this.
sympathy for
Not
this
when you're
thing?
so close. You
The game
have
has
to
done
see.
nothing to sell Lambda as a
Look,
sympathetic
I
character.
have to make
Yup.
you see.
Yeah, this isn't about Lambda. This isn't
have
about
to.
Sophie. This is about Asbel.
I have to do this. I have to save this guy. I have to. Me, 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 me. Me, me, me.
Me, me, me,
Me,
me.
me, me.
The voice has stopped.
Why did they all hear that?
Gone?
Shrug.
My friend, come on.
Asbel, wake up!
Yeah.
Look, he's got an evil red eye now.
Sweet.
Except it's purple because his eye
That means it's not evil.
All right! Oh, thank goodness.
Asbel.
Yeah.
Guys, you all know what this means, right? You know that means Asbel's
Right,
possessed,
right. They should really be a bit more worried about
You
this.
saw what happened to
I heard
Richard,
you
right?
talking to Lambda. So is he gone or what?
Heard you talking shit.
Sophie, what are you doing?
Something's different. This reaction is new.
The thing is,
Something
like,
does that-
Hannah's only
does
been
that mean
sympathetic
he's
in the
gone?
final dungeon.
And in the most ham-fisted way
Yes.
possible that does not make this whole thing
And
land
you
at
just,
all.
I don't think
like,
so.
walk into a door
Like-
and get a flashback.
Like, the thing about Artorias, and we're not gonna spoil Berseria or anything like that, is that you spend this entire game,
I don't
or the entire game of Berseria, learning about his worldview and how he got there. It's not like the last 10 minutes. And the thing is, the game still comes down to, but what he's done is unforgivable, you know?
That
Like,
means Sophie doesn't have to sacrifice
it-
herself anymore.
you
right?
this whole plot is they basically kind of took the redo on Berseria and did it so much better than this, because in this it's so fucking bad.
This game is like sacrificing yourself is bad unless you're Asbel, in which case
Unless
it's
you
fine.
say, which case throwing yourself in with no plan, that's not sacrificing
And
yourself.
I feel like they tried to make up for that in both Hysteria and Berseria.
Yes.
Which both say actually sometimes.
home.
Yes,
do.
sometimes shit is bad enough. Some things are bad enough that you can't just friend them over.
Alright, it's over! Happy ending! Woo!
Hooray!
Yay!
Remember when Sophie gave a sad dying speech about how she was gonna sacrifice herself and then Asbel basically just punched her out of the way?
so much to
That was
show.
great.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fucking great.
That scene where he stands in front of her and then just
Yup.
turns around and punches Lambda.
Yup.
I remembered that. That bit I remember because you lost it.
Because it's so fucking... Ah! It's so fucking bad. So anyway, this is allegedly happening.
Look! King Richard is here!
Well, out of this be a future arc, it's not 60% of the game. It's about, I would say, 15
Men.
hours long.
Probably, yeah.
Help those soldiers over there! Yes, sir.
Swing.
Yeah, Sophie showing some form of agency?
No,
no.
absolutely not. And like that's the biggest problem. We get this whole like Asbel just wants to save his friends, but it's literally always at the expense of their own ability to make a decision.
Yes.
Sharia, what are you doing here?
I was
help
heading
me.
I'm the team healer.
I heard you arrived. Here, let me heal your wounds, okay?
Like it's you get so Sophie learning to be a human is kind of the through line of this game. And the problem is that the game literally just snatches it away from her.
When we saw that
okay?
skit in the Citadel where Asbel was like, Sophie, no, it's my job. You don't protect me. It's my job to protect you. We lost our shit
Must
Yeah.
make
because we knew this was coming.
Yup.
We knew Asbel stealing Sophie's agency was happening.
It's literally the plot of the game, is Asbel stealing Sophie's agency.
When there is so much left to be done.
Also, like, we killed these enemies, like, they've been on the world map for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours.
Yeah.
They're not as tough as the enemies in the final dungeon.
All right. Spread out, men. We must secure the area.
So hey, Richard is a good king now because
Yeah,
he's not
I
evil.
guess people have all forgotten how he slurped,
Right.
slurped the oil.
Slurp 3 nations worth of Krios. No one's pissed off at him.
It would have been funny if Asbel stole Sophie's sacrifice and then just fucking died, yes.
Yes. Well, but that's the thing that I was saying. Like, the ending would be more satisfying, literally, if his fucking hubris got him killed. And, like, you know, there'd be no salvaging this plot because you just can't really set it up. But, like, it literally is the decision of a child. We try to make this whole game is supposed to be about how he couldn't protect his friends as a kid, but now he's grown up and he's realized, like, you know, there's some things he's got to do and all that shit. But, like, the decision that he makes at the end of the game is the selfish decision of a small child.
It's the same decision he made back in the Barona Catacombs 7 years ago.
Yes.
It's the exact same decision when he picked up that knife to try and protect Sophie and got them all killed. It's the exact same decision. Him pushing Sophie out of the way and getting everyone killed.
But don't worry, it worked this time.
But it worked this time.
Anyway, she added a teapot because it's gotta be wacky.
Researching the Valkanus again, I see. Yeah. Oh, Asbel, how long has it been since you've had a bath?
I feel like in a giant ice cave, you probably wouldn't smell as bad.
Gross! What did I do? You are a girl, for crying out
Oh
loud.
my
You're
God.
supposed to bathe,
Fuck
and
off.
even if you weren't a girl, going a week without a bath is just disgusting.
Glad we had to bring this rolling joke through over and over.
Final ending.
Shower soon, I promise.
No, the young kid is actually the older. I don't really know how old Plaisant is, but she's not a creepy study object for her. He's a respected colleague.
Hate it. There's just never any hot water left when I think of it. So, if there was always hot water around, you'd bathe more.
Wow,
often.
they really need to drag this joke out.
You're a genius! Oh my gosh, Fourier! That's it!
No one has ever considered plumbing.
Bathe in the water boiled by the Valkanus! No, wait! We can let them use it for heat and for boiling their water!
I mean, isn't that just what they
So,
do?
if there were pipes running to their houses and stuff...
Isn't that how
Right?
Strata works?
Zevert is literally filled with pipes, though.
Yeah.
So, like, what was in those pipes exactly?
Also, Strata has like water everywhere.
Yes, water fountains and everything.
Which must have
So this
some sort
doesn't
of-
make any
It must
sense.
have some sort of plumbing system.
Why does she invented plumbing, like, in a
plumbing-
world that very clearly
Well, it already
already
has
had
plumbing.
plumbing? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they were only for carrying frozen water.
Yeah, they literally have a chocolate fountain in
But no, what if they
Leon.
had hot water? As if this is some incredible, surprising...
Strata has water flags. It has flags made
Ah,
of
but that's
water.
with magic, doesn't count. It's such a, like, it's presented as if it's this genius thing.
Look! Look! Look!
How
We
is this
have to have
achieved
water
without
in the
plumbing?
fountain! You can't have fountains without...
there.
Oh, bloody hell.
Thanks, Hubert.
Oh no, the thanks belong to you.
Yeah, natural
It was a very
formations
productive meeting.
Oh.
Well, since I'm Fendel's new ambassador,
of metallurged iron.
It's not plumbing, that's just
This
plumbing!
idea really threw me for a loop there. Pumping warm water to all of Fendel's homes and using it for heat. It's so simple.
We invented
It's-
radiators.
God, it's also like this idea that plumbing
Overseeing the
was just
entire
something that
project.
someone thought of overnight.
Oh my
And
god, the Roman
they have
Empire!
now-
The Roman Empire had plumbing!
Fendel is now a freer, happier country. Than
Roman
I
Empire didn't have
Also, wait,
fucking
how long has
electricity.
it been?
have many
It didn't
challenges
have electricity,
ahead
but it
of
had
us.
plumbing. Plumbing is
Yes.
before electricity, game.
Yes.
Captain Malik, I think
Because
we've
it turns out the
The dawn
like
of a
water
new
pressure
age.
is actually really easy to work with. If you fill a tube and seal it, hydraulics will basically take care of everything for you. A water tower is actually a really conceptually simple invention. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that this is some gigantic thing when the main city in Fendel is literally filled with tubes. What was in those things?
Couldn't get away.
So anyway, they hired Sophie on as the gardener, and she doesn't
Look
plant
down.
anything but Sopharius. So they're just taking the garden over.
Down.
Yep.
Oh,
Be careful. Don't step on them.
I mean, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
His bare feet would like do nothing.
She's literally done nothing but plant Sopharius.
Don't.
sorry.
You know, Sophia, when you appeared out of nowhere in a field of light flowers, you probably crushed a bunch of them.
Yeah, you're right.
Just throwing that out. Then we had like 2 separate boss fights on there with tanks and shit. What about those flowers? Yeah, but what if I want to step on the
How's
flowers?
the Blossom Gale coming along?
They're almost ready.
It should actually be Lambda voice. I want to step on those flowers.
So it's time? You know, you really did a great job with this garden. There isn't a spare inch of dirt left.
Yeah, you overplanted really heavily, and now all the plants are gonna choke each other out and die.
Yeah.
I want to plant.
Turns out there's only so many resources, but it's not like this is a metaphor or anything, because that's not where we're going.
Sopharias are an invasive species.
Soon land's gonna be taken over by them.
Silly, but I dreamt I was riding in a
Yeah, I don't even know if there's like an actual anime cutscene in anything, like, to the end of this. Maybe the very,
There
very
is,
end.
because it's in the opening.
I
Yeah.
was in a dark.
I wasn't
well,
sure if that was then or the future arc.
It is in future arc, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one of this.
I'm honestly
but
not sure if between here and the credits we're gonna get an anime
no,
scene,
I
which is
don't think We're
weird.
not going to, no.
Because we didn't get any with the final battle either.
Yeah.
Never grow up.
Well, you're 1,000 years old, and sure, you dissociated into particles for a bunch of
I
that,
think you will.
but...
But hey, what do you guys think? Sopharius?
Fuck you, Asbel!
You fucking piece of shit, Asbel! Oh,
Oh,
it's,
oh,
oh.
Have we been proven
Yeah,
wrong?
there we
Yeah.
go, there we go.
Oh yeah, they keep talking about these
fairies
blossom
are-
gales. So this is what they're actually normally dressed like?
The lights are fading.
No way!
No way, bro!
What are you doing, Asbel, you fucking jerk? You can't make a flower glow. Oh,
Or can you?
I guess he can.
Come on.
Hey, look!
God,
What's
Asbel.
happening?
Crying over a goddamn flower. Oh look, you killed the flower. Well done.
So they've brought up this blossom gale a bunch of times, and how Sophie wants to live to see a blossom gale, and it's like... It's
Oh
never
my God,
landed...
Oh my god, their faces!
Oh?
Their little cheeny
Sure
faces.
is.
I wonder.
And like
where
now
they
it
went.
happens, and it's just like...
What do you think, Asbel?
It feels like it doesn't mean anything.
Oh.
It feels like it wants to mean something, but it just does not mean
Maybe
anything.
they'll fly all across the world.
It's such a, like, they wanted to attach a meaning to this, but they went through all the steps and just forgot that part of it.
Yep. Because we had her in a...
That is her
funny
actual
That's her normal
outfit. The one we had her in was, like, a costume. One of the few costumes you get. But yes, that's what she normally looks like.
We'll have to turn the volume down.
Sweet Jesus.
Because the ending is just as loud as the opening.
There we go. So now we can just fucking yell out it. I hate this game.
So...
I hate this game so much. It's hard for me to even really explain.
You're gonna try for the next half hour?
I mean, it's like, I've basically laid out the reasons for
Yes,
it
over
in
the
general.
ending,
It is just that Asbel is a stupid idiot who makes an extremely selfish decision that works out perfectly and is actually the correct thing that they should have done all along. No one ever really tried this before, except for Richard, who, like, the game has spent the entire time openly showing that Richard is working willingly with Lambda, and Richard has been a friend to Lambda this whole time.
No.
But that wasn't the right kind of friend.
In the final fight, he was like, I just hoped you would stop me. Even though he took Lambda back
at a time when he was presumably not under his influence. Even slightly. Like, and like, it's just, he's so fundamentally selfish. And like, I wouldn't really mind that, because of course, yeah, you do get Tales of the Abyss, where you play as Luke, who is an incredibly self-centered character. The problem is that the writers in the Tales of the Abyss were actually aware that Luke was a self-centered asshole of a character.
He's severely punished.
And
for his
that because they knew that, he was punished. He was used by a person he looked up to and did horrible, horrible things for it, and that's why he fucking wisens up. Whereas Asbel never gets a come-to-Jesus moment. Asbel literally does something that is, like, worse for his friends, because now they have, you know, like... Oh! The reason he's okay with sacrificing himself is because he doesn't care how any of his friends will feel.
Yes.
He knows that if Sophie sacrifices herself, him and everyone else who's left is going to be really, really sad. So his solution to that is to sacrifice himself so that he doesn't have to put up with himself, or with, you know, like with all of his friends being super sad.
Yes.
But if you take a fucking step back from it and look at it for 2 fucking seconds, you have not solved the problem or even, like, replaced anyone's sadness but your own.
Right, it's that scene after the World's Eye dungeon before the final dungeon.
Yep.
Where, like, Sophie's like, I'm gonna sacrifice herself, and Asbel's like, no, that's stupid.
You
Sacrificing
idiot.
yourself is dumb, you idiot.
Fucking moron.
You moron.
And then, the end scene is literally, like, I don't care his complete self-assurance that he's gonna make it work. Like, he is literally just sacrificing himself instead of Sophie there. And the only reason he doesn't see it that way is because he is too fundamentally selfish to think that he is not nature's most blessed, wonderful boy to make it work out. And it turns out he's fucking right! Ah!
Everything had to be about him.
Yup.
Like, I don't... God, it is like, I don't know... I feel like I missed that until, like, the final dungeon. I feel like if I went back now...
Yeah, you would really see just how bad.
Look at a lot of these, like, a lot of the skits and a lot of the thing... In the second half, because in the first half, he basically doesn't exist.
Yep. In the first half, it's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, oh...
I feel like in the second half, when he finally, like, started moving on his own, it all became super selfishness. So much of it is me. I've got to protect you. So you don't have to protect me, Sophie. I have to protect you. No, Sophie. I'm here. I'm the main man. I'm the main character. Oh, if I had been like this, I would have killed the world too. Me. Oh, hey, it's Kurt.
Yep, rip to Kurt Bessel.
Rip to Kurt Bessel.
The real protagonist, Kurt Bessel.
Oh, we skipped straight to her sacrificing herself.
I guess?
Alright.
Because nothing of import happened between then and there.
But also, like, of course she was gonna, like, sacrifice herself at the bottom because, like, we didn't make a plan.
Yeah, we didn't come up with anything else, so she was like, well, I'm gonna go back to plan A, because there is no plan B.
There was no plan B, yeah.
And, frankly, there still wasn't one. It just happened to work out. Like, that's the thing that fucking kills me about it. Where Asbel is this self-centered dick who is doing everything for the wrong reasons and it all works out. And, like, you can write a story like that, but there's a reason that stuff like that is usually a comedy of errors. You know? Oh, there we go.
It is in this. Okay.
I guess?
There was a young boy who discovered a lost seed. He planted it in his yard, and he took care of it every day. Over time, the lost seed grew up and blossomed into a beautiful flower. What do you think happened to
God, this is so fucking lazy too, because it's just Asbel with red hair.
That he has this Sherry's little brooch, little butterfly
and her
brooch.
hair color. Kid just... He didn't even make him look any different from Kid Asbel. We just had this neat Kid Asbel. And Lembic.
Lempadoo. Limpity.
Asbel, Richard, Sophie,
Limpity.
and Lembic.
Limpity. Yeah, Sophie was a kid 1,000 years ago with her pirate outfit, yes.
But she also, like, dissociated into particles at some point there and came back for no discernible reason, like, the first time.
Oh, yeah, true. Like,
she was gone for most of that time, and then she
1,000
comes
years,
back
yeah.
in a thing of light.
Same in Slot 2.
And I'm not really sure why she was gone or came back, to be honest. Like, the second time the game takes great pains to explain. I was with you the whole time.
Also, no, we didn't solve the energy crisis, by the way.
Nah.
I mean, I guess it's implied that...
I guess Lambda stopped sucking up the Krias, which maybe stopped the immediate problem, but, like, not really anything else. I hate this game. It really is. Like, I was kind of just whatever about it, like, the first time we played it, until we got to the point where the skit with Malik and Hubert talking about how suspicious Emerald is, but let's not do anything about it.
So, Lineage and Legacies is Future Arc, by the way. Everyone just calls it Future Arc because Lineage and Legacies is a terrible
Such a fucking mouthful.
name.
Why would you type that out into a computer? No, Future Arc.
It's New Game Plus, but we're not going to do New Game Plus, because fuck it, we've already done that.
No.
We'll do Lineage and Legacies, we'll come back, and once you've done Lineage and Legacies, you can load it up and go back into the main game.
Yep.
And that's where we do the bonus dungeon.
Yep.
So we got the sub goal for the bonus dungeon,
So we've
we'll
still
do
got
that.
so much.
So we'll do Future Arc, and we'll do the... Oh my god, what? I was in the menu!
You can't take this from me.
Fucking stop, I'm gonna go to the museum.
Fuck it. Museum time.
Museum. But yes, we will do Future Arc, which is, I think, about 15 hours. Oh.
This is the museum where Kid Asbel for some reason.
Oh, what music do you want to hear?
Ah, Jesus. Is there any music in this game?
Apparently.
I didn't even know.
Might have to turn the volume back up for this.
We could also not do that. Also just scream about it a bit more.
Yeah, let's do that music. Oh, that's the fucking...
Yeah, that's the Carta game. I don't know why that gets its own thing.
I don't... Music that's incredibly there. Oh, okay. Okay.
Not particularly. Yeah, we can watch scenes and skits and such if
Yes,
we want
I
to
guess
relive
it's
all the
just-
beautiful scenes.
I guess, like, the music maker was just put in here as well.
Yeah, I guess so. They thought it was kind of cute to have the sound select menu to be this cat's room.
Yes.
Which, hey, not the worst.
So if there's 10 a page, we've seen 300 skits, because it's 30 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are skits in Future Arc, but I feel like they're on top. Well, no, they may actually be from,
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. We do
I-
go from
I
240 to
assume-
317.
Oh, this is, yeah, like a bonus one. But here are the ones, like, at the end of the game, glimpses of the past and stuff.
Yup.
Yeah, I assume that, yeah, like, 241 through 360.
Probably, yeah, it just continues from there, and they just put a bunch of these
Yeah, that'd be
at
the
the
Future Arc
end
ones.
for some reason.
Yeah, we got 300 skits. Sophie's Looks White Wishes.
God, and everything in this game is just so fucking ham-fisted to the point where it's like they bring up the Blossom Gale and you just put a little check, you just make a little note in your notebook.
They don't talk about the Blossom Gale until, like, right before the final dungeon.
Yeah, it was basically when Asbel and Sophie are outside in the same place as the final scene.
It was
They chat up. The Sophie, you still have so much to live for. How about a Blossom Gale? You want to see that, right? And it just, like, it's trying to do it as if it's this big meaningful thing that's, you know, symbolic and shit, but it just does not land.
Well, it's brought up right at the start and then forgotten for how many hours have we played this bloody game? I can't even see.
I 56, I think. We're in that neighborhood.
Yeah, we're like 50, 60 hours, and it's brought up right at the end. But this game is, like, super gross and bad, and, like, if you just join now, you missed all the stuff, like, all the abuser or apologia.
Yep.
Because Asbel's dad was abusive, and
Asbel's dad, like, we see him get beaten by his dad at the start of the game when he's a kid, when he's this age. And the game then spends, like, the next, just every so often a scene pops in for the next 50 hours talking about how, gee, my dad was actually a good guy, and I wish I had made up with him.
And then, of course, the side quest stuff at the end is awful, because there's, like, 4 or 5 side quests that are all about how your dad was a hero.
Yup. Such a great guy, and the most... it's so bad.
And it's... God, and it... And we went, why does... We talked about this a little and then got sidetracked by the story, but the change of skits to location-based instead of, like, event-based is interesting, but also leads to skits in weird places.
Well, it is this weird thing where, like, there were locational skits in other games.
Yes.
They were not every skit is a locational skit, you know? Like, it makes perfect sense to have a skit in a place when you're talking about that place, but the way that this game does it with everything, it sort of means that skits in specific locations get completely hijacked to talk about other things, because where else would you talk about them? And it makes no fucking sense. Yeah, it really is. Like, Asbel basically kind of just acts like his father, but he does it in a right and good way, so the game never really takes him to task for it.
His father also did it in a right and good way.
True. His father was doing it in a right and good way when he beat him and sold Hubert, because Asbel just couldn't understand that they would be fighting for the title if he didn't do it. And it's like, everything about this game proves him to be completely wrong about that.
It's just like, this game thinks that Asbel's right. This game thinks Asbel's dad was right.
Yep.
He was making it... When you're older...
He did the wrong thing, but he did it for the right reasons.
Dad wrote in his diary, when Asbel's older, I hope he understands what adult decisions are.
Yep.
And I think the ending of this game is supposed to be Asbel making an adult decision.
Yep.
Instead, it's actually just him making a very childish one.
Like, that is the fundamental problem with this game, that you get this whole child arc where Asbel presumably acts like a child and is headstrong and yada yada, and he's punished for it because, like, Sophie fucking dies. But actually, and then in the future he learns or whatever the bullshit, but actually, he has not moved a fucking square between the end of the child arc and the end of the actual game. And then there's a fucking grade shop option to just skip the child arc immediately, because screw it, they know it's not that fun.
Also, yes, Lant is actually the richest town in the game because it has the oil.
Yes. Lantis literally spends the entire game being fought over, and yet...
By three different
countries, and yet Dad acts as if he is this backwater nobody noble who has to scrape and plead for the littlest drop of approval from the king whose life he apparently saved several times in a nebulously defined war.
You know what? I still can't get over, on a completely different track, Pascal inventing plumbing.
Yeah, that's just thrown in right at the end for no reason in a country that is where the capital city is literally filled with pipes. What do they think people put in pipes?
This game doesn't understand, like, reality. There is no even, like, magical world where they don't have plumbing.
Yep. That's the thing. If you lived in a magical world where you could conjure up water, you would just use water in lieu of plumbing. Like, you know, you just use the magic to do, like, instantaneous water transfer or whatever. But, like...
It doesn't really seem to generate water instantly is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the fountains still have pipes in them where the water comes out of.
Yeah.
It's just that the Elf generates the water, but they still move it with pipes, with plumbing. It's clearly that they do. It's like... It's half magic, half plumbing.
Yeah. Like, you can't, and Tales worlds are always like this not quite, you know, this fantasy modern world basically thing, where people still use swords, but there are also guns and tanks, and like, I don't mind it. I don't really care about it at all.
Computers.
Yes.
But she invented plumbing.
Yes. Like, it's the kind of thing, I don't really mind these settings at all, but a lot of it is because it is just kind of, this is the state of the world kind of setups. And, like, they don't draw that much attention to it. Which is why, when your big Pascal's final revelation is, what if I invented hot water plumbing, is stupid as shit.
That doesn't actually solve the energy crisis either. Like, part of this game, although it's ignored almost entirely for the ending, is that there's an energy crisis.
Yup.
There's not enough, that's why they're fighting over land, because that's where all the oil is.
Yup.
How does plumbing solve the energy crisis?
Yup. I guess it's like they're talking about how the Kreas have, the Valkanists have so much energy in them and we just have to harness it or some shit like that. But that doesn't really work with the other facts that have been presented in the game. Oh, you know what's one of my favorite skits that literally gets dropped and never ever brought up again? When you're in the desert wandering around and Pascal mumbles something about, like, everyone's like, I wonder why the Valkanists would be in such an arid desert. And Pascal mumbles something like, well, maybe it was actually the Valkanists that created the desert. That never comes up again.
No.
This idea that actually these Valkanists are sort of like sucking up the energy from the land or like in any way bad or anything like that, it is sort of like hinted at in some way that these things like, you know, transform the world like this, but then it just disappears.
The water one's in the desert. The heat one is in the fucking
freezing cold arid region. The wind one is actually just in a windy meadow.
It's just in a wind.
Like, you know, it just like, it tries to hint at these things generally, but A, they literally never pay off, and B, it's not even consistent on a rule of 3 basis.
Oh, so,
There's no, they make a joke about how there's no Earth one.
Yeah,
I'm like, why would there be an Earth one? Haha.
They did. They were like, 4 elements. No, there's just 3. And I'm like, no, it's always 4, but you know what?
Like, it's clear that somewhere in the planning notes for this game, this idea that the Valkanists were actually causing these extreme imbalances was brought up. But like every other plot point, it was just dropped completely.
I'm gonna put on some music while we chat.
Mm-hmm. This is fair.
We need appropriate music for this
Clearly.
chat.
What is appropriate music for this chat?
This feels appropriate.
Perfect.
But it is just like, world building is an art. I know like Tales games aren't amazing at it anyway.
But I would say they tend to be pretty good at realizing when they should go into things and when you sort of just, you know, let stuff go by.
Doesn't go into detail about how the cores help. You know, why does
they're
the
just big
water
batteries,
core,
you know,
they're just there. They're energy. The Blastia Mega Force Field. You don't really need to go into any more than
yes.
that.
Like, it's, you use it to the point where it's like everyone is comfortable with this and everyone realizes that this is the way that it is. What that means that you don't have to sweat the small things kind of thing, you know? And, like, it's also... God, what was the skit? Oh, yeah. The whole plot point about how no one ever realized that there's, like, basically an ocean surrounding the world.
Yes.
That really bothers me so much.
Yes.
Because it would have been so easy and make the world so much... feel just a little bit, I wouldn't even say so much, but it would make it feel a little bit more real if the sky being water was something that all the characters knew and was normal to them to the point where they just didn't bring it up. Which is why when it does get brought up, you, the viewer, get like, oh shit, it's something so normal that no one ever even thought to tell me about it. But it's treated as this big surprise because it's meant to be surprising to the viewers. So you have to have Sharia go, there's water up there? What? And yes, so much of the game is just filler.
I think the thing is, you know, so streaming this, I stream it Sundays and Tuesdays, and I stream Digimon Cyber Sleuth in the middle. And so I naturally, like, think about the two games together quite a bit.
Quite often.
And it is, like, it's very clear nobody gave a shit about
the little
world
details.
building, the characters, the motivations. Yeah, the sky is water, by the way, that kind of only comes up once, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's because when we had to go to space, we had to find some way to break through the aquasphere. And, like, literally, it's not brought up before this point in the game, and it just doesn't really come up at all afterwards. But when Pascal said, yeah, the aquasphere, the layer of water around the water, Cheria was like, there's water up there? Whatever.
It doesn't really matter. You just
But
break,
it didn't
you
matter.
just break through it, and then you're fine, and then you just come back through it.
We went to
and it's
space,
fine.
because all good Tales games go to space.
That or inside the planet. Those
Yep.
those are like the two places
Yep.
Tales games go.
Yep. We did both, and they both sucked. But yeah, it is brought up that, like, the Fodrons basically built Ephinia from scratch by transplanting the Lestalia, which is the mana core of the world, of their dying world into Ephinia, which literally never comes up, like, main story or side story, beyond some random humanoids just kind of mentioning it.
They basically just go, well, this world seems like it was designed, and it doesn't matter.
Yep. It doesn't really come back to anything. And, you know, it's like, you talk about how Xenoblade, everything in the world seems weird and fantastical and artificial, but that's all completely on purpose, and...
Yeah, the thing is, it's interesting in theory, and you could definitely do stuff with that, but
Yep.
the game doesn't.
Yep. I mean, hell, once again, Xenoblade is, they talk about how artificial all this is and how strange it is, but actually the central purpose of this game is about how artificial and strange this world is, you know?
Xenoblade is so
Oh,
much
God,
a better
I
game
mean-
than this. I mean, Xenoblade is my favorite game of all time, for a reason. It's
Yes.
a fucking fantastic game
Yep.
that I love to pieces. So, like, it's weird to compare anything to it, because everything's gonna fall short.
Yep.
But, like, this game did come out later.
Yep.
Than it, well, I mean, I guess the original
Right
Tales
around the
just came
same
around
time.
the same
They
time.
both, I think they both came out either the
For-
same year or within
for
a year.
the same console, and it is
Yep.
just like the difference between the two is staggering.
Yep.
And honestly, it took the Tales games 8 more years to catch up to Xenoblade.
Yep. But yeah, and like the biggest problem of this game is that they just chew through plot points a mile a minute, which means that they throw a bunch of ideas, some of which could have been better in a better game at you, and never have time to do a single thing with any of them. Like
half the game is this weird political plot that doesn't matter,
Yep.
and the other half is I want to see what Epic releases.
That sure is a Motoi Sakuraba theme.
It sure is. But, like, yeah, half of it is this political thing that ends up not mattering, because once
Yep.
you go to space, like, basically, like, okay, the world
Yeah,
needs to unite.
we did talk about this when we were about to go into space. How I was literally like, hey, you know, everything we just did up to this point, none of it matters even slightly.
None of it matters. And
It
then,
really didn't. Like,
And then half the game is the space stuff, so you end up with this game that is incoherent,
Yep.
that doesn't have a theme, that feels incomplete in both sections.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't work as a world political thriller, but
Nope.
it just ends in a fart.
Because it's also like 3 or 4 different ones. You do a civil war, you do an epic businessman trying to take over the presidency, you do this shitty poor country is owned by a military regime that spends its all on the military, and like, it does every single one of them really badly.
Yeah, like, plus, and then you go to space, so it's like half-assed sci-fi.
Yup. Everything in this game just feels so half-assed.
It really is. You could, like... You could tell that they didn't give a shit about this part.
It's paced almost like a Villain of the Week anime. Yeah, like, you know, a weekly anime kind of thing, shonen, but like, it doesn't, none of the vignettes that it tells are complete, or even really build onto any sort of central theme.
It's just like... God, yeah, like, the plot is just a mess.
Oh, if you knew who Emerald was, you would realize just how funny her entire thing is. Like, we were screaming about it when it actually happened, but this character is literally brought into the game as clearly obviously evil, hangs out with your party for like 3 hours, reveals that she is evil, and then is instantly killed.
God, Emerald is really just awful. Yeah, you go to space, you find her, she's really, really evil. Although the game really wants to tell us she had good intentions when she tried to kill everyone.
At least for 5 minutes it wants to mention.
Destroyed her entire planet. Yeah, and then you, like, God, you have a skit where Hubert and Malik are like, she seems evil, but the others haven't noticed, we're gonna keep an eye on her. And then she betrays them, and they're like, what?
Oh?
And then, yeah, she betrays them, joins the Lambda, and then Lambda's like, no, I fucking hate you, you tried to kill me, and kills her, and then she's gone. All she managed to do was extend the plot by 3 hours.
Yep. And it's like, if you had spent more time exploring her as a character,
we ended up getting all of the stuff about her in flashbacks, in side quests, and in the final dungeon.
Yep. Like, I actually kind of like, once again, everything about this game is what if a completely different game did this way better? But a thing I could have liked about Emerald is if you get all this as a character, and her ultimate moment is her trying to take over Lambda because she fundamentally does not realize that he is like a thinking being with thoughts and emotions kind of things. So of course she thinks she could control him. That could be a really great moment. But it's not, because the game does none of the work to set any of that up. And if anything, basically just heaps a whole bunch of it on right at the end to make it feel as if she actually had any form of character. It's so fucking bad.
Oh, but the thing is, Emerald's whole thing's not considering feelings, except that's because her feelings weren't considered by Cornell, because he put her in a wheelchair. By the way, only disabled character in this game is the most evil one in it. Yep. That's not problematic in any way.
No, not even slightly.
Yeah, they did. They put her in a wheelchair to get some sympathy for her.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep. She's not evil. She's just a victim of circumstance. She's just driven.
Misunderstanding.
Yep.
Her misunderstanding is she didn't think Lambda deserved to live.
Yes, to exist. She didn't think Lambda had actual thoughts and feelings.
Who cares about Emerald's feelings when Asbel's right there, and it's true. Asbel is the only one whose feelings we should care about. You're right.
Well, it's easy to forget she was disabled because the game doesn't do it until you get to those fucking cutscenes in the final dungeon.
Yes.
And where it basically goes, oh, don't you feel bad now? Like, it doesn't even say it, but it is just presented exactly that fucking way. It's so gross.
Yeah, we thought she was like frozen, but no, she was just like her evil personality.
She transferred her consciousness into a robot, basically, which is also a thing that could happen. Sure.
By the way, I don't think I brought this up, but the end of the guide has here in a box, congratulations, you've beaten Tales of Grace's F for the first time. No fear, it is not over. That's a sentence right there.
No fear. I mean, it does mean that we will be streaming this again on Tuesday, despite the fact that we got to see the credits roll here.
We sure will. But, oh, God. And, like, none of the dungeon design is very good.
No, this is, like, the dungeon design in Tales has never been amazing, but it's often at least visually interesting. Like, the dungeons in Symphonia, Abyss, and Vesperia are at least all, like, visually interesting, and you're in locations that actually at least feel cool to wander around in.
Yeah.
Here it feels like they just kind of completely gave up, you know? Like, the dungeons in Vesperia aren't really fun to, like, play through, but they are at least, you know, a lot of very different locations. There's some same cave in it, but it's not like everything's a cave.
No.
Whereas there are 3 or 4 different, like, quote-unquote lab type areas that are the exact same 90-degree view on long hallways that take 90-degree turns and have doors in them, and they're really thin, which makes it really annoying to not fight encounters. And it is just so fucking draining to play.
It's so bad.
At least things like Symphonia had you wandering around weird areas, and
yes.
like in Abyss, there are still dungeons that I remember really well from Abyss because you're in these giant areas of light with these mysterious things in the background.
It is true that Xillia came after this, and Xillia is even worse, but I give Xillia a little bit of a break because it was the start of a whole new engine.
Yes, like it's clear that Xillia needed a lot more time to bake, and a lot of that is in the awful world system, like map system.
Yeah. But it's the same system that then goes on for Zestiria and Berseria, where the worlds are much better. Much better.
Yeah. Like, Xillia is absolutely the low point of map design.
Yes.
But you can absolutely see the, like... The fact that this was clearly rushed so much that they really didn't have the time to put any more thought into the dungeon than long hallway.
Every path to a town here is just like one narrow path.
Yep.
That's just like, sure, they've added some just like elements on it that make it look like that. It's not that, but everyone is just, it's just a single path.
Super duper basic.
Everything is just like one pathway.
And like, there are other games that do that, like especially Eternal Sonata, where you're basically, everything is kind of one path and there isn't really a world map, so to speak. But all of the areas actually have a lot of character in that. They're very whimsical, they're very weird. Like, you go through a field, like a cornfield and like a sheep field in that game, and it actually feels the way that I think every area in this game should have felt. Where, you know, you can see these giant fields that you're walking by, and it's got this feel of going through rolling hills and things like that. Whereas in this game, every little bit of it feels so generic because the only thing in these routes is like a single cabin. It just feels so bad.
God, people in chat are bringing up Sharia. I don't mind she's in this game because she's the childhood love interest. That's why she's with Asbel. That's fine. That's what most of them are. The problem with her, I found, is that her childhood illness that is in the childhood arc and then Sophie fixed with their glowy light doesn't actually inform her character at all.
Yeah, it is this weird thing where because they're kids, they won't say that she's dying. Like, you know, they're clearly being cagey about it as kids, but it gets dropped so hard at the start of adult arc that it actually doesn't come up at all. Like, that it doesn't even feel like it has any impact that actually this was killing her.
Like, when you say, like, you connect, like, people to the plot, but what plot is there to connect to? In that way, only Asbel and Sophie are connected to the plot.
Yep.
Literally, only those two, and Richard.
The plot is basically Asbel shoving Sophie out of the plot.
Shoving Sophie out the way. Like, in that regard, Schubert has no reason to be there either, just because he's the brother of Asbel.
Pascal just exists to fix all the problems. And of course, Malik... Literally no reason for him to be in this game, except to be as a cheeky old guy who laughs at the kids for being so young. But yes, Sharia, like the entire, every time Sharia comes up, it is specifically so that she can pine for Asbel, and so that Asbel can be the dumbest motherfucker on the planet, so that they, and solely so that they can get some more cheap drama, or really just more cheap laughs out of it. That's the only reason their relationship exists.
So it's like, yeah, Sharia doesn't have reason to be there, but so does everyone else.
Yep.
I do find that she has nothing outside of love interest inexcusable. And I do find that the fact that she had a childhood illness that was gonna kill her.
Yep. And it doesn't inform anything about her character.
But then Sophie just healed her, so it's fine now, and it never gets brought up again until, like, we find out the reveal that Sophie healed her, like, 30 hours later.
Yep.
There's nothing about
Malik was fired for being a traitor, so it's fine.
Yeah. Malik was fired, so he's just hanging around with us.
God, not hither but thither. That's basically what this game feels like.
It sure is. But, like... Well, yeah, it's supposed to inform why she wants to do the healing thing, but it doesn't.
But she's just a healer. Like, she's not any different from any other Tales healer who has ever Tales healed, is the problem. It is this sort of thing like, oh, I got into healing because I almost died as a kid and I just wanted to make sure that no one else went through that. It's sort of the same as like asking a guy, hey, why'd you become a fireman? You know? Like, it's just something you happen to be good at that people are willing to pay you for. Let's be real. It's so bad.
She joins a relief organization and immediately abandons it so she can go around with Asbel.
And it's so funny how, like, every event that happens in this game feels like it needed at least, like, I don't know, 2 more months in-game time to actually land. because this whole Civil War thing is literally,
oh my God,
you meet Richard randomly, and like, in what to a player doesn't feel like any time going by, in what could graciously be called maybe a week of in-game time, you foment a war. I know, like that's, I am being as generous as a human being could possibly be about this. You foment a civil war. Richard goes and like meets Duke Dalen, who conveniently has an entire army to raise against Duke Cedric. Storm a fortress, take over that fortress, and then 10 minutes later, Sharia comes in and says, hey, I came in.
It's not even 10 minutes, it's like...
Oh, I mean
like
10 literal minutes, like...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you finish this bloody fight for a thing, and there's still confusion and shit. The, like, corpses are still strewn around the battlefield. Sharia rushes in with, I heard there's a war on, and I arranged the Red Cross to come be here and heal people for it. And, like, that's not something that happens in an afternoon! With, like, it just, everything about the timing on that basically makes you turn your brain, like, you as a viewer, even as someone who isn't as into these kinds of games and stories as we are, just turn your brain off completely. Because why would you? Like, at that point, it has presented you with something so fundamentally ridiculous that your brain just disconnects from it.
She was just there.
She's just there! It's given this thing like, oh god, there's been this terrible war on, and I heard I wanted to do something to help. Like, when they do that shit in Fire Emblem Three Houses, the war has been happening for 5 years! Like, that's the kind of time scale that you need to be talking about for, I really wanted to help people, but, like, I could make a difference by getting these people together. In this game, it treats it as, like, she's having her lunch and she heard about a war and decided to found the Red Cross.
God, it is, like... Xenoblade also has, like, the gathering of an army to fight on the sword that consists of you have to go through, like, several areas and, like, big areas doing lots of things, and they have scenes while you're doing it of, like, the humans, the Hyantia, the Nopon meeting and discussing making an army and, like, gathering it, and then they gather it after you're through the sword, and it happens while you are going through to fight. You're gonna go through to fight the boss, and they're fighting on the sword, and interspersed with you having scenes with your crew is them fighting on the sword. Yep.
Like, the way that the game itself plays out, from the morning, you have that night scene where Sophie's standing in the distance and Richard and Asbel are talking in Duke Dalen's mansion. From the morning after that, where you actually go attack it, to King Richard being crowned, is presented as, like, maybe a week in real time, and you missed 6 days of that week, Like, you kill Cedric, and then it skips ahead a week, and that was all. You kill Cedric Monday at 7 p.m., and and Richard is crowned king the next Monday. Like, that's the level of speed that it feels like playing through the game.
The Civil War starts and ended in, like, a stream.
Yes.
It, like, started and ended in a stream. It's true, the whole Kingdom of Winter is basically 3 towns. Yes, you're correct.
Yep. Yes, which is another really big problem.
So small. It feels so small. Like, even, like, Zillia's, like, dungeon design is bad. Zillia feels bigger than this.
Which is just pathetic.
Like Zillia feels like at least 3 times the size of this game. It's just Grailside versus Barona. It's like 200 people total in this war.
Yep.
This game feels tiny.
Yes.
And, like, part of that is the move from a world map into this was always going to be weird because, like, we can't. If you want to talk about the fortress, we absolutely can.
Yeah, we could. It's worth bringing up that the Kingdom of Windor, which is one kingdom and has apparently been one kingdom for a long time. In fact, back in prior days, Windor had pushed Fendel out to, like, Velenik. Like, Velenik was originally part of Windor, is what they claim. So, like, Windor has been a kingdom for a long-ass time. Smack in the middle of it, literally nowhere near any other nation, there is a gigantic fortress separating out 2 parts, except on one side of the fortress is the ocean, And on the other side is a lake that you could very easily just sort of shoop around, and that has absolutely no defense to speak of.
Oh yeah, there are no mountains around this fortress or anything like that.
No, it's
There's,
just
like,
on a river.
a couple of hills.
It's just on a river.
Like, this fortress has absolutely no value as a fortress.
Yeah, there's a fort in the middle of the country, and it's apparently super well stocked and prepared and stuff.
Yeah, why isn't that fort at Lance?
Oh, but hold up.
border?
There is a fortress, like, just north of Lance.
But
It's
it's
really
just a bridge.
great and ridiculous,
It's
but
just a bridge.
you spend literally 0 time in it.
You go in it, there isn't actually any building.
No,
there,
there's
it's
not really a
just
building,
bridge.
but it is also set up like they reuse basically all the assets from Wallbridge
They
for
do,
it.
yeah.
So it is kind of built like it's a fortress, but it has literally no significance to the plot, to the point where I don't think it even has a name. It's just Border Fortress.
It's just Border Fortress.
And
It's
you would think
Border
that that would be the single most important place in the entire empire, but no, not at all.
This seems appropriate. But, like, the thing is, like, fortresses do end up in odd places when country borders change.
Yes. The thing being, though, you wouldn't keep it well-stocked and filled with soldiers.
No, the thing is, like, Windor has been Windor for a reasonably long time. If they talk about how, yeah, like, the area up to Velnik used to be in Windor and then was pushed back, like, you can reasonably be certain that these kingdoms have been at least fairly static for a while.
Yep.
So, like, it is, like, it has a reason to be there, but the thing is, it's the biggest fortress in the country, it's in the middle of it.
And it's clearly very well staffed, like, and capable to respond to basically just the Civil War, which they lose anyway. Congratulations, everyone.
And it's just like, if you have a landlocked, you have multiple countries, you have a lot of shit all over.
Windor isn't like it even slightly. Yeah, like, it's so fucking stupid. And, like, the world just feels so small because you go to one ruined town, you then, like, every other place that you go to is basically 3 towns. Velenik,
Yes.
or, fucking Fendel isn't even 3 towns, unless you count the Amarcian Enclave, which literally no one in Fendel knows exists except the top government officials.
But it's just like, land... Yeah, there is...
There are, I would say, 5 proper towns
So
in
there
Verona,
are-
Lont.
There are 12 locations that have in requests.
Yes.
One is Cat's Corner.
Yep.
So you can limit that.
One is
One is in
space.
space. One is the arena town, which basically isn't even a town. It's just an arena.
Yep.
So already you're down to 9.
Yep.
And you have Port Zavert and Port 2 Zavert.
Great. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, what are the other ones? So yeah, there's Lant, there's Grailside, there's Barona, there's
Ulray, Sable
Ulray,
and U
and
Liberté.
U Liberté, Velenik, and Zaver, and the Amarcian Enclave. Yeah, that's the 9.
That's it.
So those are the 9.
And it's like, you know, Vesperia doesn't exactly have a lot of towns either, but it does so much more with the towns that it does have.
The problem is the transition to from the world map to these areas.
Yes.
Like, it was always going to downsize because you cannot have these areas in a PS3 or a Wii especially. I mean, unless you're Xenoblade, but not every game is Xenoblade. I feel like I have to qualify every time.
Yes.
Not every game gives you make of that, but the transition was always going to be awkward because in a world map, people are already primed to see the smaller world map as bigger than it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's a world map, so your scale, everything's scaled down, including you. So your brain automatically goes, okay, this is actually big. So
Yep.
even though it's like smaller in like terms of space than all these areas are in Graces, it feels bigger because they
Yes.
can put more towns in it.
Yep.
They can put forests, they can put defining mountains in it.
Yep.
You get no real idea about the topography of this
No,
world.
the map is sort of the worst of all worlds in this game, where it's a flat, totally static map that gives you no concept of like where you are in space, but you don't even get to wander around any sort of, you know, thing that makes it feel like any of the areas are any different.
Like, basically, this game has a real bad corridor syndrome.
Yep.
Which can work. There are games out there where you just go along corridors, and I feel like it works. I think it works in FF13. But, like, FF13 had very, very interesting and diverse corridors.
Yep.
Like, every area you go to in FF13 is very different.
Yes.
And interesting visually. And I feel like some horror games also take the corridor and can make it scary and put some tension in it. Like, you have to go down this corridor and there's scary things there. You could do that. Because this game has a corridor system but like nothing interesting with it.
Yep. You're never really curious what's around a corner.
No.
And the weird 90-degree angle to everything thing, I just hate it. It's so hard to describe exactly what it makes bad, but it really is just it makes everything feel exactly the same when you've got this awful front-on view of everything.
It feels very flat.
Yeah.
And it makes it feel extremely flat.
It makes the whole thing feel like a stage play, but not even the fun parts of a stage play.
Yeah.
Just a really, really boring, static world.
Yes. Need some clown music now.
Clearly.
For this game. But, like, I think that's the thing. So when people talk about how the gameplay of this game is good, they're talking specifically about the battle system, because it's really the only good part of the gameplay.
Yes.
Because I don't think the side quest system is interesting.
No.
The in-request system is extremely bad because they do not give you quick travel until the end of the game. So it's just a chore. It's just a chore.
Yep.
I've been doing it off stream and it's such a chore, guys. You can't even believe
Yeah,
how much.
there is definitely, like, when people talk about the gameplay being good in an RPG, I do find that, like, 99% of the time they are specifically talking about the battle system and not, like, the 80% of the rest of the game that you spend your time in.
Yeah.
And, like, as people who play a fuck ton of RPGs and JRPGs specifically, even when things are superficially similar, a lot of the really specific decisions you make have really, really big implications on how your game feels to play.
It is just like a good side quest system is something I look for in a JRPG.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think the in-request stuff is interesting, but in practice just doesn't work.
Yes. There are ways that you could do a system like the in-request system that doesn't feel like such a drag, but a lot of thought has to be put into, okay, how is the player actually going to interact with it? And this is really the thing that was not thought about in the game at all, because you don't get your fast travel until the final dungeon, almost.
We kind of bounced off up to fast travel.
We played it once, like literally once. We may try it again at some point, and it's not like anything bothered me about it, but it did just, like, nothing about it grabbed me either.
I would say this battle system is good.
Yeah.
The battle system itself is good. It's fun. You do dodging and sidestepping, and the CC is a lot better than the TP.
Yes, CC is much better than TP, and, like, battles in Vesperia basically only ever feel engaging when you're getting your ass kicked and it's awful. Battles in this, they finally figured out how to make battles in a Tales system, like, feel interesting to do just for their own sake. And that is, like, this game's crowning achievement, because, like, Symphonia, Vesperia, Abyss, they're all, like, I don't mind their battle systems, they're all fine, but you do eventually just kind of get into the point where it's like, I'm gonna do this one thing, and that's fine by me for this whole thing, whereas you do actually, like, this battle system is a lot more engaging than they are, basically.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, we've had some fights where they've just been awful because enemies just go so hard for your healer.
This battle system being more engaging also means that there's more room for it to kind of just be bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, the reason that Emerald was the hardest boss in the game was that she could just stand in the middle of the arena and hit and, like, choose to hit every single person who was trying to heal us or remove a status or anything. And, like, that was not fun to engage with. There wasn't really counterplay to that.
The stat specs of this game are also too powerful.
Yes.
They're too strong, and they're useless for you because you don't, like, there are some enemies...
You don't get the total bullshit ones is the problem. Like, there are some that you can put on some enemies, but you can't put curse on enemies, you can't put disease, like...
It's definitely a lot more difficult for you to find ways to do enemies. And enemies
Yep.
have to be vulnerable to
Yep.
it, and if they're not, you're fucked, whereas you're vulnerable to every status effect.
Yep.
So, like, as soon as status effects come on you, you're fucked.
Yep.
Like...
Yes. The status effects in this game, the fact that every single one of them is so punishing, kind of just means that every status effect feels really bad. And, like, I don't really like in RPGs when the status effects, like, there's one that's really, really awful and all the others don't matter. But this does kind of take it a bit too far in the other direction.
Yes, I think status effects are just a bit too powerful in this one.
Yep.
There's a very fine line, and I think this game falls on the other side of it than most most games do.
Yeah, and it is interesting, because at least it shows that they, like, experimented with the battle system, which also just makes everything else in this game feel so careless.
Very, very clear they cared only about one thing in this game, and that was the battle system.
And everything else was kind of an afterthought.
Everything else was just a backdrop to their battle system.
Yep.
Like, the dungeon designs are bad, the area designs are bad, we've spent hours yelling about the plot and the characters.
And how nothing really comes together in any of it.
And how they're just really, 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 really bad. Like, and the world building's terrible. And even the little, like I said, like, the thing about, like, Digimon is that there's lots of little touches that I really appreciate.
This game has just no little touches.
This game has one ship, and you're sailing from Fenwell, and it still has the Stratton military symbol on the crates.
Yep.
They couldn't even take that off the crate.
Right. I'm not even asking you to make a unique ship for every single country. And I mean, it would have been cool if you did do that, but I would have settled for everyone has the same ship, but you have at least changed the coat of paint.
The fact that when you flash back, the characters are in their outfits now.
That you're currently wearing.
Like, you have a flashback with Sophie when she was 1,000 years ago on the moon, and she's now wearing her watermelon and goth outfit. And it's like, this isn't even time. You have her generic base model. Put that in.
Yeah. You just didn't. All you had to do was not use the specific world model and just use a generic model. That's it.
But you had. Like, I also like the fact that you lose the water elith crystal, and yet there are still waterflies and fountains in the town. They're talking about an energy crisis, and yet there's still these extravagant fountains.
Yep, because they couldn't make a second town, or at least they didn't do any planning to have this is how this place changes once the big event happens.
All you need to do was delete. It's not even like you need to make new models. You just need to delete parts of them. And like, yeah, all the character designs are terrible. The person who designed all their outfits does not understand color theory, and it's really awful. It's really jarring.
They're annoying to look at in the skits.
They are really annoying to look at. Like, really, really annoying.
Yep.
And like, you're supposed to have Pascal, who has no fashion sense, but then she's up against Sharia, who also looks like shit.
Yep. Yeah, a character like that standing out can be good, but in a game where every single person has such a ridiculous outfit, it just doesn't. It doesn't land the way that it's intended to, which is basically everything in this game.
Well, it seems like the character designer learned by the time they got to Berseria that you should only have one wacky character, although I'd like to smack them upside down for Velvet's outfit.
Yeah. Like, I would definitely say that there are a lot of outfits that are quite busy in Berseria, but it definitely seems a bit more reined in than this game, you know? Like, Rokuro's outfit has quite a lot of colors, but it still does have, like, white is the overriding color in all of it.
Has it your reds, has your demon colors.
And it contrasts with the giant swath of his face that's, like, all in black, you know?
It's just, like... Oh, and just the character designs for Zisteria, Zillian, and Berserk, that's wild, because
Right?
I honestly,
don't know how this happened.
How did this game happen then? I think the character designs in Zisteria are really good.
Yep.
I think the character designs in Zillia are much better than this game.
Yep. Zillia definitely, like, has some outfits that are kind of out there, but they're not out there the way these are out there, is I think the big thing. Like, Jude's definitely got a lot of, like, weird colors and patterns going on him, but none of it is, like, you know, none of it is on the level of this game or even close.
So this one was solo, and the other one had, like, other people reining this person in.
I could definitely see that.
I can see that. No, that makes a lot of sense.
That there was input being given there. But yeah, and it's like there are a ton of examples I could give of other Tales games doing it. Like one of my favorite things in Berseria is really difficult to explain to someone because it's like not even a spoiler as such, but a really tiny thing that they do in a town where there's a whole mindfuck section going on where like you're not actually seeing reality as it is, and something that never gets brought up. There's a thing that happens that never gets brought up in the game whatsoever. Like there's maybe a random NPC that kind of says something. You go through this whole thing, you realize you were in an illusion, you come out of it, and you come back to this town, and one random NPC that you talk to comments about how this thing that was just totally taken for granted in the town, like, it hasn't been like that for like 18 years. And because the game never calls any sort of attention to it, because it's something that you actually have to find to yourself, for yourself, like, because it also answers something that you might not have noticed in the first place, because the game didn't smack you in the fucking face with it, it actually lands really, really, really well when it happens. And it's so tiny, but I love those super tiny things. This game has zero. This game has negative anything of that. Like, those are the kind of touches that just really make me appreciate a game. And it is just like why I have bounced off this game so fucking hard, because I realize that's the kind of thing that I like in a game like this.
If you're going to take anything away from our streams of this, it's to play Berseria.
Yeah. If I had to recommend literally one Tales game, it would probably be Berseria.
Yeah, despite the fact that I put Zestiria as my personal favorite, Berseria is the better game.
It's also, like, probably easier to approach. Like, I think the things that you and also I like about Zestiria are like,
weird.
Kind of specific things.
Yeah.
In it, and are also kind of predicated on being a very JRPG-y person with, like, kind of particular JRPG-y
I wouldn't
tastes.
say any other Tales game. I wouldn't say play Symphonia 2.
It's true.
Which is also a terrible game, but god, at least Symphonia 2 had Bear and Wolf.
Yeah. At least there was some levity that he had and how ridiculous Symphonia 2 is. This game is such a fucking trudge. And I will say, I am looking forward to Future Arc because it's kind of been brought up a few times, and we can now say because he survives. Richard is a character who joins your party in Future Arc, and he is very clearly just having fun here, which is more than can be said for basically anyone else in the party for like 90% of this game. So I am at least looking forward to that.
Soraya is a good boy. I like Soraya.
Soraya is a good boy the way that, like, I feel like they want you to think Asbel is.
Yes, they want
Asbel
to be. And the thing is, like, Soraya's good.
Xillia 2 is very, very awful and terrible. But it's awful and terrible in the most strange and unique way that I have ever, like, played in an ostensibly AAA game.
But you also didn't want to finish it.
No. Oh, I hate Xillia.
I kinda had to push him into finishing it.
Yes. Part of that was, though, that it recycles so much from Xillia 1. Like, in just the pure tasks that you're doing.
I think the problem with, like, a Xillia 2 incentive is that you kind of have to know about Xillia 1.
Yeah, like, the thing about Symphonia versus Symphonia 2 is that Symphonia is a much bigger... You know, it is the Tales game that everyone knows, basically. And maybe you don't know all the super specifics of it, but there is some level, so we could kind of just play that without really going into anything. Xillia 2...
Like, I was basically there to tell you, like, what you need to know from Symphonia, because I played it 4 times, like, recently.
Right,
so.
you could fill in the blanks in people's knowledge from that kind of thing in that.
People knew Lloyd's an idiot, but he's the good boy, and of course he's not going to kill people, like, and, you know, most people know what the deal with Symphonia is, it's old enough.
Yep.
I feel like
Xillia is... No one has played Tales of Xillia.
I feel like much fewer people have played Xillia. Yeah.
No one in this world has played Tales of Xillia except for the two of us. And, like...
And Shrimp.
Yes. And it's like, you really do need... Because Xillia 2 also picks up, like, I don't know, a year or something after.
Like a year or two.
And your party is the entire party from the first game plus 3 characters. two of whom are also major characters in the first game.
The Xillia 2 does have a lot of reliance on stuff from Xillia 1. I feel like Symphonia 2 doesn't.
No, Symphonia 2 is a completely separate game.
It has all the cast.
That ruins Symphonia.
Symphonia ended very decisively.
Yes.
Whereas Xillia is much more open.
Yep. Which meant that they were able to kind of write another story.
Yes.
And the story they decided to write was parallel universe fanfiction.
Yes.
And oh
yes.
baby.
Yes, it's
God,
wild.
and it is sort of like, you know how like you watch the first episode of an isekai and you're like, wow, this is the most generic, awful shit. They're like, this is exactly like every other isekai. And then one of your friends assures you, no, don't worry. It actually gets really interesting like 5 episodes in when they really start twisting the genre conventions. Xillia is like that if it never even started Xillia 2 is like that if it just played it completely straight all the fucking way through.
Xillia 2 absolutely comes real close and then whiffs it, and then it has a giant fetus moon, which made me. I still lost it.
Like Xillia, if Graces is the sort of game where they bring up a bunch of kind of like standard plots that could be interesting in other things, Xillia 2 is the kind of game where they could have gotten really interesting in meta, and then it just swerves back into a really boring, stupid plot.
Yep. Oh god, it really does. But yeah, I feel like, well, it's not out of the realm of possibility of us streaming Tales of Xillia.
Mm-hmm.
Because both of us, like, want to replay that.
Yeah, we both... Xillia is such a, like, unpolished gem of a game. It's like... There is this thing, and I mean, part of it was that Xillia was the first Tales game that we played together after Graces, which made me actively angry. Coming back into Xillia, it was very much like, is this gonna be good? I honestly don't know, because boy howdy, Graces fucking sucked. And Xillia's really interesting. There's a lot, like, it's very, very clearly unfinished. But a lot of the stuff it does, I remember having moments where it's like, well, I didn't see that coming. That was fucking wild. Which Graces never made me feel.
One moment in particular I remember that we were both just like,
because we also had not played it until we played it together.
We need to see what happens next. And if you want to play Skies of Arcadia, do that too. Love Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia is an absolutely amazing, like, game. Love Skies of Arcadia.
Yep.
It's like... Yeah, like, we've discussed playing Tales of Xillia again, like on our own time and that sort of thing. We definitely wouldn't be playing it next.
No. I mean, we also already know the next JRPG that we're gonna play.
Yes, we've already picked that. But we want to do something other than JRPG next, so we're talking like in a month and a half's time. Because we still have quite a bit of this to go.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, it's not unknown for the future. Probably wouldn't be the next sub-goal, because we'd want to play Xillia first before we put it on. Digimon's still going. We haven't finished that. That's still on Mondays.
Yep.
Oh god, this game sucks.
Sure does.
It's not a good Tales game. It's not a good JRPG. It's not the worst JRPG I've ever played.
It is one of those things where, like, I'm a fan of the Tales series, but I basically always have to preface a recommendation for the Tales series as, if you like Tales games. Berseria is probably the one where it's, like, the most, actually, I'd kind of just recommend this as a good JRPG, but, like, most other Tales games, even the ones that I like, I do kind of have to be like, if you like the things that Tales games do, because they are very particular games.
Yes.
They've got a lot of old school JRPG stuff, and they've got a lot of, like, seasonal anime stuff, I'd almost call it. And you do sort of have to be willing to either like that stuff actively or be willing to put up with it in order to find enjoyment in them. But this one doesn't even pass that bar.
This was bad. I thought before we streamed it this one was like just mediocre. That's so hollow. We enjoy talking about this game.
I love this. This is kind of what we have done this kind of thing for years. Just talk about this shit because I don't know. We're a married couple and we're out of things to talk about.
Oh, that's mean.
To be fair, we did it before we were a married couple. But, like...
We've been together 15 years, yeah. We still talk about things, which is kind of a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is a bad JRPG.
Yep.
If you're down for... If you don't care about plot and characters, there's a good battle system.
Yep.
So, like, if that's all you care about, go for it, I guess.
Yep.
But honestly...
But, like, there's so much more to a JRPG than the battle system, is what I would say, you know?
Yes. And I distinctly thought it was meh, but, like, God, I don't know if I just didn't realize how much, like, awful messages there are in this, and awful... What's the first PS4 Tales? Because if it's Zestiria, they're wrong?
It's also like, Zestiria was PS3, but it might have been co-released PS4, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know.
Zestiria is my favorite.
I mean, the
Tales
thing is,
game.
Zestiria gets a lot of hate from people, and I don't
think it's
really get it.
It's really undeserved.
Like,
I don't understand it.
Like, I would say, I understand not liking it as much as we do, but, like, just playing it from a purely detached sense, it doesn't really seem different from other Tales games to me, you know? Like, it does not seem to do things worse than other Tales games the way that this does. It just is a Tales game. You know? I think that's the big thing.
Like, Zestiria is my favorite one. I just straight up. But I acknowledge that what I like about games is strange. I love the UI.
Yep.
I don't think when I came into Zestiria and I got the UI and it was just the best UI I have ever seen in JRPG, I was just like, I was in love right
Well,
then
I think
and
part
there.
of it is also that because you're the kind of person who does platinum JRPGs,
I do.
You will be spending an awful lot of time
And an enormous
interacting
amount
with
of time,
with these systems, figuring out the big bits, and really just kind of grinding up against them. And to actually get one that doesn't feel like it's fighting you actually feels really, really good. Like, playing Xenoblade on the Wii, it is an absolutely fantastic, incredible game. But when you pause the game and you hear the Wii, like, whir up the disc, and it takes like 3 seconds for it to load everyone's models in, and then you gotta click on the equipment screen, and then everyone fades out, and then the weapon screen fades in, it kind of does suck to interact with.
Zestiria's UI is crisp, it's snappy, it's really clear, really well laid out, there's help for you everywhere, it's beautiful. It's a masterclass in UI design in a JRPG. To be honest, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the game having female characters where their tits aren't out.
Yep.
Gotta be honest, that
I'm pretty sure there isn't a skit about some guy character getting flustered by how short Alicia's skirt is or anything in Zestiria.
Like, Rose is great, Soraya is great, I like all the characters. Like, that is the reason why I like it over Berseria. I'm gonna be honest. Berseria's the better game, plot's better, characters are probably better, the outfits in Berseria annoy me.
Yep.
Velvet's outfit
And perfectly fair, yeah, like, specifically Velvet's outfit. And, like, it is perfectly fair because you can put her in a different costume for most of the game, but the skit is the main way you interact with the characters, and she's still dressed like shit.
Does criticize the church, though. There's a church guy who's a Hellion. I mean, yeah, sure, it doesn't go super as hard into it as Berseria does, but, like, it doesn't...
It's not like the church is the good guy.
No.
If anything, it's that the church has fallen into a state of decay just like the rest of the world.
But yeah, Velvet's default outfit.
And the problem is that you have to stare at it in skits even when you change her out of it at the very start of the game, you know? You cannot escape Velvet's default outfit.
Like, I liked Zestiria's open environments. I like them a hell of a lot better than this game's corridors.
Yep.
And you're playing it after Zillia, where you can see where it was heading.
Zillia just feels like a beta test, basically. And then you get into Zestiria, and it's like, man, I can see where they were going with the really flat environments in Zillia. It feels nice.
I'm here with my I mean, I like FF13 and no one else does, so I guess take my recommendations on JRPGs with a grain of salt, because what I like is
kind of particular, but that's half the fun.
Weird and esoteric. Everyone hates FF13. It's baffling to me, specifically. But I like Zestiria. I think Zestiria is a good game.
Yep.
I don't understand.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. I would go to bat for it as a good game at the very least. Like I don't think it's my favorite, but it's certainly up there. And it's really weird to me how it gets brought up by a lot of people who like don't really know much about the Tales series, as I heard that one was really bad. Cause it's like, who is going around saying that? I honestly don't know.
Not me.
Oh boy, FF13 to the point you platinumed it, eh?
I've platinumed it 5 times!
Literally 5 times.
Yeah, that's not an exaggeration, it's 5 times.
Yeah, like, I do feel like Zestiria probably gets something similar to FF13 in the people heard that people hated it, and that kind of rolled into like, just the general feeling of it is that everyone hates it. Obviously not to the level, because of course Final Fantasy is a much bigger series than Tales, but it does give me a similar feel to it. Where people just heard that it must be that it's the bad one and they wouldn't play it, so eh. Oh, and I totally get, like, you know, not liking it. Like I said, it's still in the I'd recommend it to people who like Tales games kind of category. But it's still like...
Oh man, if you never touched 13.3, you should.
I need to touch it sometime.
13.2 is terrible. 13.3 is good. It's not as good as 13.1, which is my favorite one. Because it has to fix all the stupid shit 13.2 did.
Right.
But it does indeed fix all the stupid fucking bullshit 13.2 did. Which I hate. I cannot stand 13.2.
Alright, do you want to cut this podcast now?
This has been a podcast, yeah. Pomp and Majesty shall we end on.
Perfect.
13.3 is a good game. And you beat up one of the reasons why I hate 13.2. in one of the earliest things you can do in 13.3 is kick the shit out of Noel. Instantly a great game because of it. Yeah, your podcast time is down.
To be fair, we're going to be recording a podcast later tonight.
I know people who hate 9, and I'm baffled by that, because 9 is great. But, yeah, no, we've talked for like an hour or so, I've got an hour and a half.
At least, yes.
Kind of why I think this game isn't very good. And not just on a plot and character level, I feel like design-wise
the overall feel of this game is just a real bad crunchy mouthfeel. And, like, I get people who would, like, just play it for the combat, but that's such, I don't know, like, the general thing of playing it is just so unpleasant, and I sort of wonder if for a lot of people they just expect JRPGs to be unpleasant like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the feel that I get with this game, because sure, the battle system's good, but it's a lot of, like, people will tell me, or I've heard people say, like, that I think this is a good game, or at least that the story's shitty, but the overall, it's alright as a game, and I just don't see it. I don't think the battle system saves it.
I think for me, it is just a matter of, I play video games for stories and characters. Always have.
Yep.
Always, always, always have. A battle system, as long as it doesn't actively hurt me, I don't care.
Yeah.
If I can play it, it's fine. Like, it's not what draws me.
It's not the reason you're playing it. It is sort of just, it's nice if it's good.
Yes. That's generally how I feel. And I do like the battle system on it. I think it's better than Zillia, but I had a much better time playing Zillia with you.
Yeah.
All those years ago when we played it together.
Yep.
And the thing to remember is we have played, not only have we played pretty much every Tales game that's out in English, we played most of them together.
Yes, in co-op.
In co-op. We've played everyone since Abyss together, I believe.
Yep, I believe so.
And Abyss we played long after it came out.
Yep.
It never came out in the UK.
Go figure.
But this was possibly... We played Vesperia first together, right?
I think so. That was the
one?
first full one.
I feel like it was Vesperia Abyss and then this game.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And so we've played a lot. And we've played a lot of JRPGs together. Because the thing, remember, is we were in a long-distance relationship, but when we came together, one of the things we did was we played video games together.
Yep. We
Which
played
we still
Batten
do it now.
Kaitos Origins together
Yes.
for the first time. We played
FF12.
FF12 together for the first time. We played most Tales games together. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's just what we do, what we always did when we saw each other for the longest time.
Yes, we'd see each other for 2 or 3 week stretches, 2 or 3 times a year. And what we would do, we would have a game that we played over that time, while also doing other things, so we're not crazy. But that was something we would do. Funnily enough, one of those times it was Assassin's Creed, but...
Nah, Zillia is fine together because there's 2 humans in your party most of the time.
Yes, it's fine with 2 people, don't play it with more than 2 people.
No.
Same for Zestiria, do not play that with more than 2 people. Not really built for that. It has some weird systems. But, like, we've played a lot. And I play a lot of JRPGs.
Yep.
I have. If you name a JRPG, I've probably played it. Like, Doc's played a bunch of obscure ones, and I'd go in and be like, oh yeah, I've played this game.
Yep.
And it's just like, we don't always have the exact same opinion, but we normally know what we do and don't like.
We also tend to talk these things over to kind of... We know why one of us likes one thing versus another.
And we remembered that we... Especially you didn't like this game, and that we did have fun playing Zillia.
Yep.
So when it comes to those games, like, we do know the ones we enjoyed back then, and we know the ones we didn't. And, ooh, Tales of Cold Steel. Yeah, Trails of Cold
Trails.
Steel. It is Trails of
God
Cold
help
Steel.
you.
Trails.
How
I'm
could
very
they
bad
do
at
this to people?
Trails in the Sky, very good. Play that one. Also great. Yeah, good JRPGs, but... Alright, we're gonna go, because we're recording a podcast at 7.
Yep.
We're gonna talk for like 3 more hours about
Yep,
something else.
we're gonna be doing a lot of talking, it turns out.
It really does. But on Tuesday, because it's Sunday, on Tuesday we're gonna start
Future Arc! Oh boy.
And Future Arc is...
It is. We shall see what it is when we get in, when we go into it on Tuesday.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown on this game. I felt like this was a good time for us to do it, rather
to
than
take a
after, like,
step back. Yeah, like, because Future Arc is kind of its own thing, and it does have a stupid story,
so
but,
the thing
like...
is, this game was this. This was it. Future Arc was added for the PS3 port.
Yep.
So originally it came out Tales of Graces, this was the ending. And then we've got Future Arc, and then we've got the bonus dungeon, which is an incentive. So I don't remember the bonus dungeon, so I guess we'll see how it is.
And I never played it.
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow I am back with Digimon, a game I actually really like.
And I'll be there too.
I'm so glad I get to play a game I really like in between this. But yes, you're off tomorrow, so you'll be joining me for Digimon tomorrow, which is good, because I am in the part of the game where I am just going up a building and I do need things to talk about.
And I sure can talk.
We can talk forever, but yes. Future Arc, Lineage and Legacies, you should say it properly.
Yes.
Lineage and Legacies starts on Tuesday, and honestly, it's both better and worse than the main game.
We'll talk about it. It's very different, and it's definitely, like, gonna be a tighter story than this one, partly because there is actually a direction it wants to go in.
Yes.
But
we'll see
it does still have the baggage of this entire game to deal with.
But yes, I hope you enjoyed our breakdown of this game, and we'll see you tomorrow and Tuesday for more of this. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your present.
Bye-bye.
Bye.